Hey, this is Aaron Karsten with Role Playing Public Radio, and we have a special game today. We are playing Upwind. This is a yet-to-come-out game, and as a special guest, we actually have one of the creators with us, Jeff Barber.
Woo, woo, woo.
Hello, buddy.
Monkey welcome, yes.
All right, so you all have your characters. You can read the sort of quick start premise on the front page. If you are a quick reader, you can read the rest of it as we go, or you can just pick it up as we move along. I'm a firm believer in when you're teaching people new games, don't bog them down with a bunch of rules, just start playing when you need one. Then you can describe how it works at the time. Anybody have any general questions before we get going?
For setting up our decks, I guess we set aside everything from our affinity. So I have ore, which means it's going to be diamonds.
Yeah, so look at your character sheets. Down the left-hand side are a list of suits. You'll notice at the very bottom, under potential, you have a single suit marked. That is the suit you need to separate from your deck. That will from here on out be referred to as your potential deck.
Where is that?
It's the bottom one under potential.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clubs.
So since mine is arc, mine would be clubs.
Arc is indicated here. So that's the clubs.
Okay.
Then shuffle the rest
So
back into the deck.
shuffle the two separate decks.
Okay.
And for your hand, you draw 6 from what we call your play deck, and 4 from what we call your potential deck, and that is your actual hand of cards.
Okay.
6 and 3?
6 and 4.
6 and 4.
And one joker in the deck.
You leave one joker in the play deck, the other joker is just set aside and not part of the game.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I keep the horse.
Actually,
I think that's one mistake we made with our first playtest, that we kept all the jokers in. So
Well,
twice
actually,
we kind of,
I didn't have any of my jokers handy, so I played with no jokers.
so it was a little bit of a mixed
So
bag.
this goes to the bigger
Sean,
hand.
you've always got one.
The Joker.
Yeah, the joker goes into the play hand, the larger hand.
6.
And you'll notice, I think it was Caleb that said, hey, you ought to have some sort of like graphical indicator of where your cards go and what they mean. So look at your character sheets and you'll see around the outside. I have no idea.
Cool.
These are just mock-ups of the character sheets.
Oh my god!
Okay, that was going to be my next question.
Artist is
If you
working on
keep
them.
the potential and the play deck, the play hands separate.
They are separate, yeah.
Okay.
The primary reason for that is your play hand refreshes as you play it. Your potential hand, it's magic. It's kind of a measure of your sorcerer's power, your mana, and it recovers in game time. So it needs to recover at a different rate. That's why they're separate decks.
Okay, so for potential, clubs would be the one?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
6 and 4. Is that?
Yes.
So let's see. Okay. The character sheet I was talking about. You have the same typo. Hopefully we fix that really quick. So you are wind. So you need to be
I love you, McDonald's, but you're getting in the way.
But I'm always here. I'm always there for you.
6 and 4. I know it's been asked.
6 and 4.
It's definitely going to be out.
Remember?
There you go. Yeah, 6 and 4.
So,
There you go. So just go with what I circled and not. So you're actually going to be spades.
Okay, cool.
So 6 and 4.
So which hand or which suit is trump?
No, sorry. No trumps. Not yet, anyway. But there is, for ties and things, there is a suit order. It's the traditional suit order.
okay.
All right. Whenever everyone has their decks set up, we can do the intro and get started on the game.
All right.
Cool.
This is yours.
We'll go this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we might actually do, I guess, an impromptu interview with this as well. But what kind of brought up this first idea of the game, or at least using the cards instead of a dice system?
Actually, the game mechanics and the setting were separate. But they were both ideas that were kind of floating around in the back of my head at different times. The cards were just an experiment I had in mind. And as the two ideas sort of percolated, I realized that the central magical element of the setting with the 4 cardinal coordinates matched really well with the suits of cards. I have grown to loathe my dice because I seem to have such black magic when it comes to rolling them.
A pox upon your dice.
If you want black magic on your dice, I can help you with that later.
I got plenty of it. You might not want to touch my dice. But I thought, you need to come up with a mechanic to use cards. And what I was trying to accomplish with the cards was something you couldn't really do with dice, which was create a mechanic that allowed you to bid points from a reservoir of points based on how much you wanted the outcome to come in your favor.
So
right.
giving a more spend aspect and
so you
more
have
agency
resources
over.
to spend, and you could take a lot of bad stuff happening to you if it meant you could have some good stuff happen later. And that's just sort of where the idea of this bidding mechanic came from. And cards seemed like a reasonable way to track that resource. And it just kind of evolved and changed. It's just changed dramatically since then, but that's where it came from.
Okay. No, that's something that we actually commented on the first playthrough, is that it seemed to give us a lot more agency over our actions.
Well, you'll find tonight. I hope you'll find even considerably more agency, because the way that I try to design the use of the stakes gives you control over the story almost as much as it does the modern.
Oh, wow. Cool.
All right, so if everyone is done, go ahead and grab your sheet with the names of the characters on it.
And quick question on that. Is it okay if we pencil in the player names next to it?
Yeah, go ahead. These character sheets are yours to keep if you want.
Cool.
So write on them, take notes, whatever you'd like to do. There's a thing I like to do. I often write a little intro for a particular session, especially one-shots, and I like to involve the table in presenting it. So I'll start here. You can read the first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, and move our way around the table. So if you flip over the sheet with the characters, we'll start the game. Bait and switch.
All right. Vault is a small nation wedged between the Kingdom of Loft and the Fortress Dominion, and threatened from below by the upwind border of the Twilight Frontier. Its rulers are weak, and the populace is desperate. The country's economy has all but collapsed. Corruption is rampant, and bandit gangs and local crime bosses have more influence over the people than the failing Parliament. As a result, Vault has become a haven for outlaws of all kinds, and some of the most notorious pirates in the realms take refuge here when they need to go to ground.
All right. Bound by the treaties of the Convocation, the Explorers Guild is obliged to provide support, expertise, and law enforcement at the request of the Vaultish government. Despite good faith effort and major expenditure of resources, the Guild has been mostly ineffectual as corruption and collusion undermine any progress it makes. Things have been so desperate that 2 squadrons from the Brotherhood's 5th Fleet have been permanently assigned to patrolling the vault.
You're members of the 5th Fleet's 4th Squadron, known as Roland's Raiders, and though you are officers aboard the EGS Rival, you have recently been given special orders for a detached service. You are instructed to make your way via supply ship to a hive of scum and villainy known as Haven, the Vaultish capital. There, you are to pose as merchants, take command of the freighter Majestic, hire a crew, secure a tempting cargo, and make sure everyone knows where you're headed. All this is to serve as bait in your trap, a trap you are to set for the notorious dread pirate Margit.
Is that the way? Is that his name?
Margit.
Margit, okay.
And it's the feminine.
Okay. The dread pirate Margit has become the most feared bandit in the already dangerous and pirate-ridden skies of Vault. Brazenly attacking Vaultish shipping and Navy vessels alike, she and her crew of cutthroats has been raiding with impunity along the Vaultish frontier and has reportedly taken a dozen vessels in the last round alone. Her ship appears out of nowhere, attacks without warning, and vanishes again into the refuge of secrecy and fear she enforces among the people of the Vaultish frontier.
Your orders are to limp along, a fat and helpless duck, to lure out her crew of hungry hawks. Then, using guile, brute force, or whatever other means present themselves, you are to capture her ship and crew and return her to Haven for a very public trial.
You were pleased to have been selected for this mission, and were actually looking forward to the challenge, until you set eyes on the Majestic, which, it turns out, is anything but. Given its warped planks, tattered sails, dangling rigging, and rusty hardware, you are certain the only thing keeping this ship in the air is the fact that it's tied to the dock.
Well, at least things can't get any worse.
Now
Why did you taunt Murphy?
Now it's on fire.
Flames on the side of my face.
And that's how we get ants.
So you stand there staring at this vessel, wondering what you've gotten yourselves into, and remembering the first adage of being a knight, never volunteer.
Well,
I don't believe we volunteered for this one. I think we were voluntold.
Well, that was probably a big part of it as well.
Well, it It certainly has character.
Hey,
It
the
seemed like a
intro
good
said
idea
we
at the
were
time.
happy to have been chosen for this.
Until you saw it.
Until
Yes.
Happy.
So that sense of well-being and happiness is quickly fading.
It's like
Oh,
there's
speak for yourself.
oh yeah, it's like
I think this is going to be an adventure.
We
So-
can fix it.
it looks like there's a party in my mouth. And everyone's throwing up.
I imagine a moment of silence as you all look at it.
A little varnish, a few throw pillows, will be fine.
And each of you, maybe touches your nose and thinks, okay, you can do the repairs. But there are 4 things that you know have to happen before you can get this vessel shipshape and out into the sky. First, of course, is to repair the vessel. The second is that you need a crew. Because as competent as you are, being knights, you do need men and women to run your ship. You also need to find a cargo, one that would be tempting to a pirate. And finally, you need to spread the word of what you're up to. Each of these need to be done in just the right way, right? Your repairs need to be made as quickly as possible. The crew needs to be found in a way that means they're less likely to mutiny than they might otherwise be. Your cargo needs to be tempting, but maybe not too tempting, or maybe not something you can't
Oh yeah, we have the Ark of the Covenant on
broker
board.
for. And finally, you need to spread the
I
word,
don't think we're going to be able to move.
but in a way that is subtle enough that people won't realize that you are actually setting a trap. So, by way of learning the mechanics, do a little bit of meta structure here. I'd like to know who would like to take on each task, and you can do it in pairs or as individuals.
But what are the caches?
So your caches are extra cards that you can spend on a bid. And when we get to a bid, I'll worry about telling you how that works. In terms of what they represent, it's unique to each character, but when they can be applied to that situation, you can use them. For example, your Knight's Cache is the one that allows you to help other people, and you can spend it on any circumstances. Your Breed Cache allows you to spend it when you're doing magical things using your potential. Every kin has an ancestry, and those ancestries come from 4 sort of origins: Spark, Torrent, Gale, and Stone. And then you have a culture cache, which is related to the culture in which you were born and raised.
So mine is negotiation or persuasion,
Yeah,
which would be good to either get a cargo or get a crew.
absolutely. And then
Let's see, mine is adaptability and socialization, which would be good for getting a cargo or a crew. Most likely the crew. But I'm also a fast-talking schmoozer, so I think I should hit the tavern.
Well,
Because I could get a lot of people at the tavern.
I imagine going from top to bottom in terms of priority. Domhnall would be an excellent choice for heading up the repairs. Whether
Because
he's doing it
he's-
themselves or waiting for a crew to come in that will help him do it.
Grab a couple of extra engineers first. Have them join me in the hold.
And I think anybody with social skills would be good at acquiring a crew because, seriously, you do want to make sure anyone you're hiring from this hive of scum and villainy is going to at least follow your orders long enough to get you out into the air before they mutiny. And you realize that it's going to be a task finding trustworthy and competent in the same individuals. Cargo, of course, can be anything that you think you could attempt to pirate with. And there are many things here that you could probably do that with. And of course, it would require maybe some negotiation or other business acumen. And then spreading the word, again, social skills, maybe some subterfuge abilities, some things that
I'm not a
make you
liar.
a person.
I'm definitely not a liar. So.
I mean, I've got something that could help, but I think I'm still best off doing the repairs. So,
Okay.
because I've got I know this guy, but
So let's start with the repairs.
Okay.
This is a great tutorial for how the mechanics work.
Right.
So you examine the ship from top to bottom. You make a running list in your little journal of the things that need to be repaired. And I would imagine that you're writing down, oh, this is the most important one. And then you get below decks, like, oh, nope, scratch that out. This is the most
Right.
important one. You've got several pages of notes.
The
by
giant hole in the bottom of the boat is the important one.
making chalk marks at certain spots in the wall to mark, what
Absolutely.
corresponds, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So you've got several pages of notes about what needs to be done. You've started to prioritize the parts. You've already sent a couple of your brothers out into town to the chandlery to see if they've got them to buy. You may be negotiating with some of the other ship captains in the harbor. But you now have a list of the things that you need and the repairs that you actually need to make. You're going to have to replace most of the rigging. the sails are shot, and you'll need new cloth almost entirely.
Well, if they've been shot a little bit, we can just stitch up the holes, right?
Yeah. Well,
I think it means shot in a different way.
they get weather worn, and they get that too. That's
Yes.
a cannon hole, and so is that.
Oh, look, they used the grape shot here.
And I think this old brown stain is probably we'll just throw that one away. But you are going to have to replace much of the ship and spend many clocks putting her together before you can sail free. So in terms of the mechanics of the game, we'll make a play over this.
Okay.
And we'll negotiate stakes that you want, outcomes that you want for the ship and crew, and then a counter stakes that makes it more interesting for me as the game master.
Okay.
So what would you like the outcome of your repair work to be?
Ideally, it'd be great to have it runs better than new.
Better than new. Okay, that's pretty high stakes.
It is pretty high stakes.
Because this thing is really should be
Retired.
Scuttled.
retired. Yeah, maybe an old sea captain could use it as a retirement home. But other than that, it's not really meant
And
for the
when you
open
say
sky.
retirement home, what you mean is crash it on the ground and then make a
And then
tavern out of it.
Yes.
Elsid Barrett would
Alright.
pilot this thing.
So better than new.
Better
is
than
a
new
high
is-
order.
It's too high. Oh, so is that too high?
No, it's not too high. I'm just going to say right now that's a 3-card play. So the difficulty levels that I provide you are 1, 2, or 3 cards.
Okay.
Obviously, 1 card is lower difficulty than a 3-card. To make it better than new, it's a 3-card play. But that's not enough. Just I mean, for a 3-card play, you should get a little more. What else do you want out of it?
Better than new. Sneak in a couple surprises.
Okay, so you can improve its performance.
Defensibility is what I'm really.
Defensibility. Okay,
So when somebody tries to
the hull
board
is
us.
perhaps stronger than it would appear.
There might be a few.
Oh, starter hull and
I was thinking traps on the railing.
crouching cannons? Crouching cannons.
Yeah, there are no armaments. If you're interested in armaments, that would be something that would be.
So we'll make that for that extra bit. It's going to be armored, but it's not going to be obviously armored. It's going to have armament, but it's not going to be something you notice right off.
Okay, we'll say that the key features, that the key infrastructure can be armored. I'll say you can have a choice between a trap of some kind against boarders, or as a means of accomplishing a quick burst of speed to get free of pursuit.
Ooh,
Which would you like to have?
Actually, I think the burst of speed would be a good idea.
Okay, so
Yeah,
your
we're
stakes
gonna
are.
capture a pirate.
She's perfectly skyworthy as the day she was launched, though she's going to still be ugly.
Oh no,
You
no,
don't have
that's
time to make her pretty.
I'm making sure she's
Yeah.
Okay.
She's Falcon.
She's going to be skyworthy. She's going to have a hidden burst of speed ready to go.
Where are the cigarettes?
And you're going to
That's
have
a horrible
armored,
thing to say.
armored infrastructure. Okay.
We're working on that. Cargo.
I'm going to say that my stakes are she'll be skyworthy, but I get both a 1-card cash that I can play against you sometime in the future in a situation where the seaworthiness, the skyworthiness of the ship is called into question.
Okay.
And I'll say that there will be a plague of small malfunctions that I can throw at you when they're dramatically appropriate.
So I get to run putting out
Can we
fires.
call that plague of small malfunctions a reckoning?
Dun, 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 dun,
Okay,
dun.
so for this one, you're saying it needs to be it's a 3-card.
So I'm going to make the 3-card play. You can make however many cards your ability is listed at. So what
So-
ability are you going to use to do the repairs?
I want to say machines just speak to me.
That's perfect, and that's a 3-card. That's a 3-card ability, 3-card skill.
So
So and that's in what suit for you?
that is in spade, unfortunately.
So you have to play that in spades. Now, if you don't have spades, or enough spades to feel confident in making a 3-card play, we can do a couple of things. We can negotiate the stakes down a little bit, so it's a 2-card play. And that way you won't have as hard a challenge. Or you can figure out a different ability to use.
Right. Looking.
A different attribute to use.
Right, I'm looking over the different attributes. I'm also looking at, so the mechanical genius trait under caches, that's
That
just...
you can use that. That would be added to any play in which you are trying to do something that would be there'd be an advantage to be a mechanical genius.
Which I would think this would work, but is it like a one-use thing, or is that just...
Yeah, the caches are session or per session use.
Okay.
If you have more than one, then you can use it twice per session.
Okay. Actually, I think this would be a case where that could be usable. If we ditch the burst of speed, keep the armor, keep the skyworthiness.
Okay.
Does that make it a two-card challenge?
If I get to keep my rash of random malfunctions,
Okay.
yes.
Let's do that. So I'll use the mechanical genius trait, and I'll try to do.
And, I'm sorry, my rash of malfunctions and my challenge cast still.
Okay. So, all right. So the way this will work is, okay, so mechanical genius, I just say that's a card's victory, or...
Well, you say you're going to use mechanical genius. Or sorry, no, you're using... you just speak to me, so you're going to pick your 3 cards, or up to 3 cards.
Right.
And then you're going to say, in advance, I'm going to use one of my caches.
Okay.
And you tell me which one, so that we can agree that it's applicable, but we've already discussed it. So then you draw a card from your play deck at random. Yep, and it goes into your play. So it goes in with the whatever card you're playing from.
Okay, so give me a second. So it's going to be... And I'm guessing, does it still apply even though it's not...
Yeah, it's suit independent.
Okay, so...
So what we do is then I got to pick my cards.
Oh, sorry about that.
And I have a craptastic hand, which is a good start for you. Seriously, I don't know how I ended up with such poor cards.
Yeah.
Your dice are influencing the cards?
Probably. That same...
Okay.
So...
Keep them from talking.
You are sitting next to me.
That's okay.
That
It's
might-
good for you guys then, right?
All right, so...
Alright, so I'm playing my 2 cards. I also have caches available to me. I have plot cache, I have a opposition cache, and I have a environment cache that I can use whenever one of those things applies. In this case, I'm not going to spend it.
All right. Flip. I've got a jack of spades and a 2 of
Okay, you've got
clubs.
Jack and 2, so that gives you a total of 12. I've got a whopping 9, so you win automatically. Now, you could crown that play because you're playing a face card, but I don't know how you could use any kind of sneaky behavior as represented by the Jack to do that in repairing a ship.
I was trying to make sure it looked like crap. I don't know.
I could say, yeah, I'll buy that. If you're really going to make it look like a sort of like a false flag sort of vessel,
Right.
You could play the card. In this case, it's irrelevant because you've already won.
Okay, so...
There's also subterfuge and thievery. Who knows where we got the spare parts?
Well...
That's
Oh,
true.
no. Am I to understand this? Do you really want me to paint more rust on this thing?
My next question is, so for the crowning card, it still has to be the same suit, I'm guessing.
No.
Oh, it could be
no.
anything.
Crowning is drawn randomly from the deck, just like caches.
Gotcha, so...
So you would pull a card and just lay it down on your total. So now
spade
your
anyways.
total is 17.
Okay, so...
Okay.
We have a nice ship.
The only cards that are suit dependent are the ones you're playing out of your hands.
Okay.
The ones that are drawn for crowning or for caches suited dependent.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, so it's working. It didn't get the extra burst of speed, but it is armored. It still looks like crap.
It's going to take you a couple of clocks
Yeah.
to get her ship shape. You're going to have to do a full re-rigging, and having a crew is going to make this go a lot faster.
So,
You're gonna go
again,
around.
please,
So
send me
these
some
things
more
You can imagine
engineers.
these things are all sort of happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
But even when these guys first get back, they realize that you've already made improvements. Most of that was just shoveling the trash off the deck and into
Right.
there. Right. If you have a joker come up, keep in mind that that's an automatic win when you play that. But you want to do it secretly. You don't want to be like, I have a joker,
Right.
and then
And
have me play my best cards or my worst cards or another joker. And
I have a sword that turns my aces into jokers.
yeah, you have each of you has a relic. Each character has a special heirloom that they've either inherited from their family or were given at graduation from the academy that emphasizes a particular personality or skill or magical strength that your character has. And if you have questions about what it is and how it works, just ask, and I'm happy to share.
Is it, okay, is this an anytime usage? Is it a one-time?
It's an anytime usage if the circumstances are right. Each character's relic is different.
So I
Relics
could have-
are custom built by the characters.
I could have actually
players.
used mine. Okay.
Yeah, yours is a giant work chest. It's about this tall, about that wide, that deep. It weighs about 500 pounds.
Which you carry one-handed. Because
However, it
damn.
has. Well, you are very strong. It actually has backpack straps on it. But it also has the same elements as an induction hull. so it lifts a little bit off the ground, or it reduces its weight to about 30 pounds, I should say.
Cool.
It still has 500 pounds worth of inertia, so you need to strap it down and be careful. But it's got all the tools that you need, and under those circumstances of activation, you can pull out rare spare parts to make whatever repairs you need to do.
Okay, so for right now, we already did the contest. It stands. Oh, do I draw back up to my...
You draw back up to your full hand.
Okay. Yay. So, we got a ship.
And now we need a crew.
So who's going into town looking for a crew?
Ooh,
That should be Dave.
me.
Okay. So, Zig,
Yeah.
you are a energetic young woman.
Yes.
You can't stand still. You can't stop talking. Your head is on swivel all the time. Your eyes are looking here and there. You've got questions of everybody. You meet everybody. You know everybody wherever you go, even though they can. I would imagine most of the time you're talking so fast they don't catch your name and they don't really get a chance to put a word in edgewise. But you are
That's okay.
certainly
I've got such a force of personality that they really don't need to.
absolutely. You are a force of personality. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it is a challenge. So you're walking into town. You are in the waterfront, and it is a proverbial working waterfront.
Am I going to see Brando?
Brando?
Because I'm on the waterfront.
Oh no, sorry, he's not here. But maybe.
You could have been a contender.
Your best bet for finding a crew in a place like this, there's almost always a sailor's hall, a place where sailors that are out of work who have just come on a ship that's finished its voyage they'll go and they'll put their name in the lists, and based on their specialty, they can be hired on other ships. A lot of the guys that are here, that are regulars of the Sailors' Hall, are probably the least desirable of those that you could hire, but they have to have minimum qualifications in terms of skymanship. So, there's a trade-off to be made.
Well, I figured that there's a nice, easy way to figure that out. All I'm going to have to do is talk to the ones that have been here for a little bit longer, and I'm going to see why they're still here. I mean, some of them might have things like a drinking problem, some of them might have a gambling problem, and there's always the one or two that just can't seem to get on with the right ship because they don't have the right personality.
Or
They don't have somebody
they have a
to
murder
like them.
problem or a pirating problem in the
Oh, what's a little bit of murderation between friends?
All right,
I mean,
so-
as long as they're not murderating us. I mean,
So the building is run down. You can
clear.
tell that the dues around here must be pretty low. You walk into the dim room. It is lit only by a few kind of grungy windows. There's a few long tables with a few dejected individuals sitting there looking over their I imagine there's a tap room here, so they're looking over their mugs of ale. There is an officious-looking fellow with a visor and those little straps that hold up the sleeves.
Ooh, sleeve cutters.
And a large ledger. He seems to be putting on a bit of airs. Things are rather threadbare and worn, but he seems to at least be cleaner than the rest of the people.
well, you know
here.
what? At least he's making an effort. And we can appreciate a good effort. So I'm just going to saunter right over to him, and I'm going to start talking.
Well, you walk in, and immediately all eyes are on you. Not only are you a woman coming in here, not that there are not female sailors, but you are young and you don't have shit all over you. So there's
Clearly, I must be important.
Bad luck to have a woman on board, mark my words.
That's why we're going to have at least two. Because that way our bad luck will cancel each other out. I mean, I didn't see you with the ready answer to that question.
I think perhaps you're in the wrong location. Is there something I can do?
No, see, I'm here to pick up a sailor.
Oh,
Don't get all excited, boys. I'm here to pick up a couple of sailors.
this guy in the back put his hand down.
I'm actually here to pick up a couple of sailors. No excitement, no
Oh, you are
excitement.
here to broker for a crew.
Yes.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I can help you with that. We have lowest rates on the water. We were able to make a good deal.
Oh, good. Oh, I am looking for a good deal, but I'm also looking for good men.
Oh, we
few
have those.
good men.
Look at this sea of good men. You look out and some of them aren't even looking up. Some of them look very dejected. A couple of them are looking enthusiastic, but they also look really hungry. A couple are looking enthusiastic, but they look really knifey.
Okay. Actually, let's try
Good, they're
fast-talking
proactive.
schmoozer and never gets a good girl down. I'm leaning more towards the never gets a good girl down. I'm going to turn towards the room and I'm going to say, I have got a ship that needs a lot of work. I do mean a hellacious amount of work before it's seaworthy. As a matter of fact, the only thing that's holding it together right now is the rust and the the rust, the spit, the baling wire, and the sheer willpower of our engineer. Who wants to help him?
There's a unfortunate moment of silence when someone in the back says, I can swing a hammer. Someone else says,
That's good.
I can run a saw.
Hammer, saw.
See a guy in the back, I know 3 knots. The other guy
Okay.
says, I can bend a sail. And now they seem to be like, almost they realize...
I am Spartacus.
Yeah, they realize they're bidding against each other for jobs and money, and so it starts to get a little more enthusiastic. And you see a few guys, I'm able-bodied, I was a navigator's assistant.
I have nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's the guy in the back.
I have no soul.
Coming up and down, waving his arms, I have nothing to lose.
All right, so we're going to hold a couple of interviews, a couple of tryouts. Come on, boys.
Or Davey could just go.
Okay, several of them kind of vie for position.
One gets stabbed.
The clerk has made a show of brushing off his desk and showing you the chair.
Mr. Hammer, I heard hammer first.
That's me.
Bring your hammer here.
I know how to swing hammer. He comes forward.
All right.
Yes.
I need to talk to you first because you were the first person to speak up.
He looks back over at his, I wouldn't say comrades, but the people that he was sharing a room with.
And Mr. Saw, right up here too.
He comes in behind him.
Okay, you
He
guys.
can help you, I am sure.
Now, I know that you guys are probably going to be the first hardest workers that we're going to have out of this whole crew. And so what I really need to do is I need to get you guys working as quickly as possible. So can you tell me what your rates are?
What is the range on our telepathy?
Nigh unlimited.
Yeah,
brother.
essentially, yeah.
It's nigh unlimited.
Unfortunately, almost everything you think and say is essentially transferred to the other without really effort or will. In fact, it's the ultimate invasion of privacy. You can't really...
That could be
I
awkward.
wouldn't call it an invasion
So
of
it's like
privacy.
one of them is constantly talking in the other one directly in the other one's ear.
Essentially, yeah. You can't really turn it off.
Okay.
You guys probably all saw him wince repeatedly
You've gotten very good at talking over each other. Is what
at my
it is.
unfortunate choice of words. It's okay.
Well, see, I'm still back at the ship.
Right.
And this is actually what I was thinking. And the
So you
reason
don't even
why I
have
asked
any
if I could look-
context.
Hold that plank still. I
So
will hit you with the hammer, I promise.
Any
She's getting
service hall like this
somebody
has
who can
a
swing
set of
hammer.
fees that would be pretty standard. You would only be paying exceptional rates for
Let's see.
exceptional people, and they have
Hammer,
to that,
saw.
with letters of reference.
There's
or
somebody who can
documentation.
rig sails.
But anyway, your conversation
follow
goes
basic instructions?
similarly with each of these guys. You talk about
It would appear
their
so.
skill set.
They'll make
You
do.
talk about their ratings. You talk about the last voyage they were on. You get a lot of guys that you're like, thank you, no thank you. You get a lot of guys that, if what they're saying is true, would be a great addition to the crew.
Okay. Now I'm basically going to be sorting them into yes, no, and maybe.
Okay.
The no's, I am going to tell them, sorry, you're just not what we're looking for at this time. But we will keep you in mind for our future endeavors.
A couple of them look downtrodden. A couple are angry. Someone swears something in Voltish. They're like, "What? What? It's a good thing I don't know."
I'm gonna go kill something.
Well, let's see. Since I'm verdant, I will respond to him with the angriest borscht recipe that I possibly can, or the angriest recipe for a dish. Tell him how to make an eggless cookie in verdant. Loudly.
He looks at you confusedly and backs away.
I can do the shouting words too.
Again, she's doing the cookie recipe.
All right, so we'll make a plan.
All right.
What stakes would you like in hiring your crew? Tell me what would like your crew to be like.
I want my crew to be
To not stab us in the backside.
yes, to not stab us in the back type. That I was going to say loyal. I think loyal encompasses no stabbity back.
Yeah. Loyal is a higher order of not murderous.
Yes. Well, I want them to be murderous, but just not at
Just not toward us.
Granted.
Directed.
I want you to murder the
By
people
now I'm
we
hearing
want
two-card
you-
play.
Yeah. And I also want them to be competent. I want this crew to be people that actually know how to sail the boat as opposed to people that just know how to kill
So a
other
full
people
crew
while they're on the
of
boat.
competent sailors. So we're looking at about 15 or 20 people.
Mm-hmm.
You want them to be, not mutiny,
Right.
but you want them to be more than that. You want them, you said loyal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
As in, I don't want them to try to stab us in the back in the middle of
What
the
about
night.
their martial competence?
Well, I figure that I'm traveling with a group of 7 knights. And I mean, 7 knights.
It's going to be going against a whole ship full of pirates.
Against a whole ship full of pirates, but I'm a match for at least 2 pirates, maybe 3, possibly 4, if the right circumstances. I know my brother can take at least as many as I can.
That's a good point.
Right?
Do we know what
Right?
the pirate captain's compliment
Right?
is?
You don't.
We don't.
Yes.
Fair enough.
We just know she's a pirate.
There are thousands.
And a good
Well,
one.
in a general sense, yeah, lots.
Well, she's taking a lot of ships, so she's probably pretty good at
Well, considering
pirating.
that the last time that she did the pirating, she took
Like 10?
12 ships in the last round.
12 ships in the
Over
last
the course
round.
of about 3 months. Yeah.
Well, still, 3 months, that's a lot, but a dozen vessels all at once,
That's what a week.
that is not a small number. So I figured that there would be a small amount of martial competence because I know that this guy knows how to work a hammer and this guy knows how to activate a saw.
You're looking for, I think you're looking for quite a bit out of this crew. I'm leaning towards a 3-card play.
Okay, let's try a. Let's see.
So what ability are you going to use? What attribute?
Well, I may be metagaming this just a little bit,
But
but
this game is full of metagaming, so
Okay.
you should.
I'm looking at the cards that I've got in my hand, and
Mechanically, you steer the game, you try to steer the narrative towards the cards you have to play.
I'm going to play this as never gets a good girl down. And the reason why I'm playing it that way is because I can pull off a diamond, but the way that I would justify it in story is even though these may not be the cream of the crop, I'm taking it in stride because at least they were enthusiastic after a moment. They thought about it, but then they chimed in.
I will say that's pretty thin justification, but since you were kind enough to invite me to your house to play a game with you, I will let it go.
Well, it's actually not my house, it's his.
Well, to your group.
Yeah, the pizza for you is on the way, too.
Okay.
That's a lie.
It's in the mail.
And let's see.
It's in the mail. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
a 2 ability, so that means I
Sharper
get to
image.
play 2 cards. Is that correct?
Yeah, so you play 2 cards, diamonds.
Getting some Trump steak.
Okay. And
that's
then
not
I am going to use...
We could
But I'm
fax a
playing 3
sandwich.
cards because of all the things you asked for.
Okay.
So if you want to bring down their martial competence or their loyalty, I can go down to 2 cards.
Or can I tag my cash on adaptability
You
and
can.
specialization?
You can, but remember that's drawn at random from
Okay.
your play deck.
I will.
Okay.
I think that I kind of need to, just to make sure that we get a... I want a non-stabby crew that can actually stab other
Alright, so
people.
go ahead and play those 2 cards. Draw your other card from your play deck. Reveal. Alright, now you are playing 17 and then 10 for your king. Now, can you justify crowning with your king? So if you look down here under king, these are the kinds of things... Leadership, I'd say leadership.
Leadership.
But I know who's in the crew, and I can use nefarious doings to crown here, so I get to crown as well. So I have a total now of 29, and you have a total of 30. Oh, nicely done. Yeah.
Do I get to double crown on
No,
that?
you only crown over 1 time, and you only play cash over 1 time. So you've got 37. You actually win. You, out of this den of iniquity, you manage to hire a crew that is both competent as sailors and not ready to slit your throats as soon as you set sail.
Don't tell my mother that I'm honest. She'll never understand.
And they know which end of the knife goes into the bad guy.
That's the thing.
Pointy end goes to bad guy.
So crowning.
Well done.
So crowning means you justify
Okay, so these
how
go
that
into the-
face card
Yeah,
corresponds to its
if
thing.
you are playing that face card and you can justify its application to the circumstances, you can draw an additional card at random
And add it to the sum.
And add it to the bid.
Okay, and then do I draw 2 more cards?
You fill your hand back up to 6. Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent.
I think I'm getting the hang of this.
And that's really all there is to the game in terms of the mechanics. I mean, there's some subtle little add-ons that we can talk about, but that's how she
Now-
plays.
Now, I do have one crazy little question. Oh,
Mhm.
there it is. Never mind. It's right on the sheet in front of me. Aces crown any play regardless of circumstances.
Yes.
So, if I had managed to find an ace,
Numerically, face cards are worth 10. The value they have is in crowning. And you sort of, in a metagame sense, want to push the narrative in the direction that you can play your best cards. And so that's sort of the fun in the meta elements of this game is telling the story you want, but getting to that story through whatever happens to be supported by your random draw.
That is so meta.
Always.
All right. So we've got a group of people who have gone hunting a cargo, and they're going to spread
And-
word about that cargo.
Well, actually, I want to take a look at the cargo if you don't mind.
Well, are you negotiating?
You
I have
go together.
persuasive and natural
You
leader.
can certainly go together.
Okay, we can
I
go together.
negotiate.
That always works.
So-
Now, who do we have that's going out to look
I'm
for
interested-
cargo?
Okay, I'm actually kind of interested in what particular cargoes have been going missing. Is there any type of pattern to them, or of what has been taken on these ships?
That's an excellent question. What kinds of skills could you use, and where would you use them to get that information?
For
Information
May I help you?
gathering attributes? Or,
May I help you, Aaron?
well, I do have persuasive, so I could just
You
spend
have-
the years of local.
I have a scholar's
There you go.
tome that gives
That's
me
great.
useful information.
Okay, if you want to do that, that's we can utilize this for later, Eric. If you want to.
That is a strange and
It's a
magic-
relic,
That's
yeah.
a magical book.
Yes.
Right. So it can have answers to questions that wouldn't necessarily be found in a normal instruction manual. Yeah.
So no, if you want to give that a use. So
Yeah,
go for it.
so I'll use that to find the information that he's looking for. Most desirable cargo for our particular pirate.
Well, let me see your character sheet for real quick.
Because we're going to at least seeing that the pattern possibly or something. Because there's a chance though that the manifests have gone missing unless we want to use persuasion through Tom's abilities over at the Dockmasters.
The intention behind this relic is that it's essentially a portable library. So unless the pirate, and it has access to sort of a meta book, and unless the pirate has written down these things and made a book out of them, you wouldn't really have access to it.
You've got a
But
magic
we have
book.
written manifests from the ships before they left dock.
That's a good point. So if you would like a list of the manifests, sure.
Yes.
So what is the activation on that relic?
Draw a face card.
Okay, so if you draw from your deck, your play deck, if you draw a face card, then you get that fact. So it's a little bit of a gamble. Every time you ask the book a question, draw, and if it's a face
Maybe
card,
yes,
you get
maybe
the
no.
answer. Yeah.
Okay.
So draw one card.
No, 5 o'clock.
Okay. So you thumb through the pages and you can't seem to find. You shoot your magic 8 ball and it says ask
No,
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say Tonio.
Yeah, Tonio.
Tonio, sorry. Tonio and I can go to the Dockmasters, and he can ask if we can look at least the shipping manifest.
Yeah, you're the harbor
Those
masters.
things.
Yep. There is an office where they control berthing and loading and keep track of ships coming in and out and collect tariffs for trade and all that kind of thing.
So,
You walk toward this place. Now, I want to ask you all a question. So, every knight has a knight's blade. It is a special weapon that anyone can identify. The metal that they're made out of is somewhat unique, extremely valuable. It's called Master's Alloy, and they have an appearance that looks almost like etched circuitry. The way oil roils over water, that the blades kind of shimmer and move almost like that when you look at them. They're given to you at graduation. They're the only thing that a knight carries that identifies them as a knight. It's better than a badge. It's better than a car with blue lights on top. But under certain circumstances, you might not want people to know that you're a knight, especially when you're supposed to be posing
Posing as
as a
merchants.
nefarious crew of merchants, down and out on your luck merchants by the look of the Majestic. So, how is each of you hiding your blade? You essentially have two options. You can hide it in your gear aboard the ship, or it can be somehow secreted about your person, under your cloak, wrapped in sailcloth over your back. But if it is out in the open, you will be made almost instantly as a knight.
I had a question. Are the pommels and hilts uniform among...
No, the blades tend to be sort of custom made for the bearer, and
Okay.
so they vary pretty broadly. But,
Okay.
but if the blade itself is well, yes and no.
Okay.
There's a lesser chance.
All right.
Okay. What I was going to ask is, when you say blade, is it necessarily a sword? Or
No, it can be. As an individual, you get to choose what kind of blade it is. It could be a spear, it could be a sword, it could be even a dagger, an axe, maybe more exotic weapons.
Well, I'm thinking that mine is exactly as long as my forearm,
Okay.
strapped to said forearm in a drop sheath.
Okay. So it's hidden under your sleeve.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sure.
I guess the question I'm really asking is not so much specifically how you're hiding it, as much as are you hiding it, or is it on ship, or is it in the open?
A question. I mean, the blade obviously is an identifier, but scabbards?
The ones you get with them, yes, but we can say that you've, in anticipation of going undercover, you can have acquired a scabbard that fits that will hide the blade.
Okay. I was just curious if they were identifiers
Well,
as
if
well.
that works, change mine to a rapier and just hilt it up and scabbard it.
Okay.
So
Because if you're wandering around without a visible weapon, you're clearly an
Sure.
idiot.
Target.
Well, it doesn't mean you don't have access to other weapons, right?
Yeah.
But the idea would be that if it's identifiable enough that if you've not wrapped the handle in rags or stuck your hat over it or something, someone looking at it's going to go, oh, wait a minute. I know what that is.
So in my case, it will probably be hidden. It'll actually probably be more of a sword cane. Yes or no, David? I'm stealing your shtick.
Okay.
So,
Sword cane?
for this one, to make it more unobtrusive towards that. So.
Okay.
I left mine on the ship.
All right.
Because mine's actually like a broadsword.
So in case we need to pull rank on somebody, if absolutely necessary, but it
You're
won't
thinking you're
cost
going to give
attention.
him an inch?
Have you guys hidden yours, or are you carrying it with you?
I don't know that I've left the ship yet, so...
I'm
Okay.
still on the ship, so mine is actually going to be in my tool chest.
All right.
And when if I do leave the ship, it's going to be wrapped in cloth and strapped to my back. It's going to be more of a thick cleaver-like blade.
Sure.
Because big guy, big blade makes sense.
Mine will be a sword and, scabbarded on the hip.
Okay.
Not a rapier, a little bit more like a saber.
All right.
Go scimitar.
Sabers are good for ship combat.
I kind of like saber better.
Well, all right, saber.
So,
It's his
But
character.
scimitar sounds cooler.
So are you hidden, or
I think I'm still on the ship,
Okay.
but that.
the reason I asked this is actually for a mechanical purpose. So your knight's cash is only available if you're carrying your sword. The sword gives you confidence. The sword gives you authority. It is a sign of who you are and the training you've gone through. It's a reminder of what you've endured to become a knight and the way the rest of the world looks at you. If you don't have it on your person, that lack of confidence means that cash is not available.
Question as far as Wink is concerned. Since Hulk is our teleporter, is he able to teleport his blade to him if it's not on him? Or does he just teleport him?
The way potential works in the game is pretty freeform and open to interpretation, just like everything else. So, yes, depending on the circumstances, yeah. All right, so you guys are in town.
Yes.
You've gone to the harbor master. The harbor master is, like I said, it's a fairly busy place. You see some ruffians outside, stevedore-looking types. They seem to be pretty idle. They're not really doing work so much as eyeballing everybody walking in and out. Your instincts tell you that they're probably guards of sorts. They're thugs that the clerks inside can call on if things get rough. And so they give you a little bit of stink eye as you walk past, sizing you up. Even though you are very young, there is a confidence to your step that concerns them.
I don't like your swagger.
So the two of you walk in. You see a bunch of busy people at ledgers, some sea captains arguing with clerks, a bunch of harried runners with rolls of paper and satchels going hither and yon.
We'll go ahead and approach. Is there a main desk, a main reception desk, or is there just are there just clerks all
It's a
around?
ring of counter, and there's doesn't seem any rhyme or reason to the people standing around. It's like you got to push yourself to the front of the crowd if you want attention.
Okay.
It's
Bunch
kind
of bunch of harried, sweaty guys in dirty white shirts behind the counter, ink stains on their faces.
Just kind of move without moving, like, well, let's put my bag down here, and I guess I'm past you now.
Oh, did you come in before me? No, that's okay.
No, it's not fun. So, actually, I'll just be polite as I can be to the gentleman.
What can I do for you?
So, yes, we actually have some business with business. We're currently a new shipping and receiving crew that has come out. It's like into Vault. Our ship, the Majestic.
Get the
So,
knots out.
so
Help get the knots out.
You,
so the ship, the Majestic, is. It's like
you are on the Majestic.
Yes, actually, we're currently in the middle of researching
They
it.
are on the Majestic.
So, that is the response that we've been getting.
The couple of guys behind are looking at you. One of them does some sort of religious gesticulation with his hands.
But in any case, we are currently seeking about taking over some of the shipping routes, unfortunately, of the for our companies.
Oh, you want the cargo?
Yes, actually, we're taking over ones that have gone missing.
Aisle 4.
So.
And he goes back to whatever he was doing.
Aisle 4 is cargo.
Oh, aisle 4. Okay, sorry, didn't hear it.
More bureaucratic crap. You actually get bounced back and forth between a couple different aisles before you find someone that's actually brokering cargoes.
Okay, so
when he finds out that you're on the Majestic, he's like, no work for you.
Why? Excuse me, sir. We've traveled such a long way and repaired the ship. Why would you
Your
reject
ship
us?
is piece of shit.
Like,
Well-
now it is.
I cannot invest cargo. Cannot trust you with cargo unless you pay big insurance. You pay big insurance. Yeah, you have all cargo you want.
Sir, I can tell you that our credentials are impeccable. We have sailed throughout the
Yeah,
islands.
are you carrying cargo or ship carrying cargo? 'Cause
So-
that ship piece of shit.
So, I can assure you that we have taken every step to make certain that we have made that skyworthy at this point. That is the purpose of our company, that we can see the rough inside, diamonds in the rough. And I believe that's like we can bring you a massive amount of money in the lost, out of the lost shipments that have gone missing in the recent months. And I think you know that, and I know that.
Were we given like some actual capital for this mission?
Yeah, you
Okay.
got some resources.
And
Actually, if that will fit in
Android?
oh sweet, no, in an iPad.
Android.
Yeah, my iPad just died and it's got the scenario on it. So
Oh no.
you need that stuff. Shoot, and my let me see if my battery upstairs has a bonus of a charge on it. I will.
if I can steal from the,
Do you want to go to pause real quick? All right.
Yeah, go ahead and pause.
We'll be right back.
I'll be alright if I just unplug the
After this
TV.
commercial message.
All right, and we're back.
Bring my
So,
chewing marbles this time.
So you go back and forth with the fellow. He's insistent that he knows the Majestic. It's not seaworthy. You have to pay insurance if you want to get him to broker.
Actually, I'll just go
cargo
like,
to you.
okay, it's like, there, I'll put some of our money there.
Oh, very good, very reasonable.
Just
Now, what would
like-
you like for the cargo? I have options for you. I have.
Okay, look, now's your time.
well,
He's thumbing through his book.
Well, in particular, we were interested in looking at what was comprised of the cargo runs of. What were some of the names of the missing ships? So,
do we have a list of them for us?
Yeah, we've got a few of those.
could I possibly get the shipping manifest for the Highwind, that's like Aether Draconian, and can never get
Prancing
this price.
Darkling.
So, yeah,
Filthy whore.
I was going to go with that.
that is a good ship.
She is. Look at her track record.
As you simply say, like, it's like, filthy whore.
He gives you a skeptical look, looks around to make sure that there's no other clerks in earshot, and says, "But why do you want manifest from these ships? This seems a bit irregular. It's not really part of brokering a cargo."
Yes, I actually do understand that is somewhat unorthodox. However, since we are just getting our start in the Baltish region, we are interested in getting up something a leg up on our competition. So
you're
I was,
seeking advantage, seeking information. Information is valuable.
so
Here you go.
Another bag of coin.
well,
It disappears quickly, and he goes, "So, what was that list again?" So here's the deal. He will provide you with the list, and you will very quickly be able to make some assumptions about the things that they are carrying.
okay.
There were, I'm not sure what you were expecting, but it wasn't shipments of weapons or particularly valuable hard goods that were missing. There was a ship full of rice. There was a ship full of medicines and tools. There was a ship full of other foodstuffs. And there were a couple of high-dollar cargoes. There was a ship carrying gunpowder, arc powder, and another ship that Vault doesn't have much to export. But one thing it does export that is highly valued around the Kingdoms in the Light is wine. Valtish wine is particularly good and particularly valued, and that seems to be... there have been several ships that have gone missing
since
that were
then.
carrying cargoes of wine, which is a pretty fungible resource.
So we may
Smuggleable.
Let's go with wine, I say.
Well, actually, I think what needs to happen is that we need to have a fairly diversified cargo that has most of the staples that were stolen already, and then use the wine as the cherry on top, particularly decent vintage. Sir, actually, where would you
smuggle the wine?
I was like, who would you say is the purveyors of the best vineyards in Vault?
Oh, well, I can broker that if you wish to carry
for
wine.
carrying food.
But again,
have food around
it is good that you have insurance because this
It's
is
not just that, we're kind of hitting on
difficult
more than
time.
one.
Wine disappears faster than it can be drinking, right? It seems to be a difficult thing to ship.
So,
Well, I assure you that we can do it, sir.
very much.
So you would like the wine? Is there other cargo? This is headed for Verdant. Are you willing to make a journey of that length?
So that is currently our next leg of the destination.
Well,
so.
how convenient, he says.
Like, I was like, a couple extra ones. Like, no, it's not.
So-
Like, there's nothing convenient. It makes perfect sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense.
Exactly. I mean,
How much of our money have you given away?
like, we were given a sum.
I have a persuasion
about it
ability.
later.
Oh wait, we need
joke!
Oh wait, we need
I actually
food.
have
There's only three kinds of money in Upwind. There's personal expenses, which generally you can assume you have covered. So if you want things that are a reasonable personal expense, you just have the money for them. There are requisitioned resources, so the Explorer Guild gives you the expensive things that you need for a particular mission. And then there's plot money.
Negotiation.
So if the value of something becomes important to the story, whether you have it or not is part of the adventure, then value of something becomes important.
Okay.
So if bribing somebody was important in a way that you needed to get more money than you had, then you wouldn't have the money. But if it's just a step along the way to telling the story, you've got the money.
Oh, no problem.
So-
Okay,
So
assume that we
no one's
have
ever
to
keeping
make-
track of coins in Upland.
okay, no problem
So
with that story.
basically, to put it in RPPR parlance, assume that we have a McDuck's worth of money units
At a regular
until we
point.
don't have a McDuck's worth of money
Yeah,
units.
That's a good way.
we have enough money that we don't have to ask. what we
You're
want
not pouring coins out of your pockets, right? You've been essentially cleaned out by bribing this guy.
which is fine. Like, that's what it's here
Which
for.
exactly, that adds the difficulty to the plot for later expenses if you have.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the next leg of the journey should be, now let's go kill these pirates.
So, although before we go,
still make
since we're at the
money on the
dock,
cargo, too, though.
I would
Well, yeah.
I kind of say, well, thank you very much. We obviously
Step
feel
one,
that you're
kill
going to be a
pirates.
lucrative
Step two,
business partner in the
Step
future.
3, profit.
However, since we've traded for everything that we require, us like
You
physically,
mean we're not going to save
physically
some
for
gold
this,
coins, use a slingshot
I
stone?
wonder how well you are at brokering information.
Well, did I not just give you the manifest that you were asking for?
Well, other than that too, since that does link back to physical goods, but I am also interested in the rumors about the ships that have unfortunately
Let
disappeared,
go from
and
the food.
that's like in the clouds. I've heard rumors of at least it's like rumors of the ship just disappearing in and out, and wondering what you.
He will launch into a tale of woe involving the dread pirate Margit. He will tell you of
With the band playing.
Yeah, he will tell you. Sad violin. He will tell you of his cousin who he was just married, and he has not returned. Of ships that have just vanished. Of insurance costs going through the roof. Of cargoes going wanting for people who are afraid. It's a tale of woe that he's clearly exaggerating at some level, but there's enough truth in it that you realize that the economy is actually being affected, at least
Pretty heavily by it.
the Haven economy, right? And so he's willing to share that much just as his chance to tell this tale of woe.
Okay, so and
You've
mechanically
been
too,
practicing that one, haven't you?
Well, it
You put
explains
just
why.
the right tremble
Yeah.
up the sister.
And this is why I must take care of my own with additional revenue streams, if you understand. So this is not for me that I take the coin. It is for my mother and my sister and her 6 kids. Yes.
And my brothers. And their families.
And my sick mother. Did I tell you that she
So
was...
you get out with the manifest, the manifest for a cargo, and he tells you that that will be delivered the next clock.
okay.
And or he looks skeptically at you when you believe that your ship will be ready.
So,
Because he's still skeptical about the whole majestic thing.
oh, it will be ready by then.
But
So.
Bet him 5 coins that it will be ready at a certain time. Watch his face.
So you guys,
Like, I bet you everything I just gave you that's going to be ready and awesome on time.
they come. He's not taking it. I have seen the ship. Sorry, I have coined. I'm not going to. Sure thing, right? Yes. So they come back with a word of the cargo. Would you guys like to somehow spread that word so that perhaps it will fall on the ear of one of Margit's
And might I
operatives?
play your fiat on this one just a little bit? Because these 3 gentlemen have not had a chance to shine yet.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking them 3. Those 3.
I don't even know what I can contribute to that segment of the.
Yeah,
It's going to be great.
I doubt
All
there's
you
many
have to-
places of scholarship in the.
All you have to do is
Might be
frequent the
places
dime
that-
bars, and I'll put the right words to say right into your head.
The 3 of us can go hit
You can
the
do
various
this.
eating and drinking establishments, and
You can make it sound very smart.
well,
No, that's
talking about the profits that we're going to make from it, and
If you just talk amongst yourselves about a fat cargo and easy money, and
So we do-
hope that no
it's
people
like-
are overhearing you.
So you're like, big cargo, valuable.
Baltish wine.
So would one
lots of wine.
So you guys go into town, you spend your evening carousing, you consume many beers.
Jacobo, I'm
Speaking of which,
sure I told you
there's
to
a
use the word
12er
shipment
in the
instead of the
fridge
word.
if anybody wants to bust that out. Yeah.
Maybe we could like start a bar fight. What do you think?
I think that's an incredibly bad
As nights, that would be
idea.
a definite
not-
way to put a bunch of people in the hospital.
Oh,
We're trying to impress people with our lucrative.
Your naivete and
And our
easy targetedness.
our drunken revelry.
Okay,
It's like, we have the best cargo ever.
I will go to an eating establishment and talking and carousing with some of the other tavern patrons. I will get into a one-up argument about how much better our score is than theirs are.
Okay. What would you like? What ability would you like to use?
Ability or skill? Is there a difference?
Attributes, skill. You use skills, ability, or potential.
What is the difference between an ability and a
Abilities
skill?
are things that you are theoretically naturally good at or particularly talented in. Skills are things you've trained hard in and actually studied. Ultimately, there's no mechanical difference. It's just how your character knows those things, and potential is your magical ability.
Well, I'm a good
Okay.
judge of character according to my abilities, so I'm going to pick out some.
So you're going to pick out people who are bad characters.
Right,
All right.
exactly. Who might possibly maybe be into illicit activities.
Go talk to
we'll-
that man with the parrot on his shoulder. He looks trustworthy.
Go ahead first, Greg.
Okay. Let me know if this makes sense, because this seems like a really vague ability. Heir of Destiny, I want to put forth a sense that, wow, this guy, he's talking big, but there might be something to this. And if the right people are listening in on that
If you want to
conversation,
use Air Destiny to talk big, sort of put on airs, absolutely. I think that's appropriate.
okay.
So let's do this. Let's make a play. At this point, I think if your goal is to be overheard by nefarious pirate types, that's pretty easy. I would say that's a one-card play. If you hope the word is going to get back to Margit, let's make that a 2-card play.
Okay. 2-card maximum?
No, 2-card for me. So
Oh.
I determine the
Okay.
difficulty level.
Right.
We negotiate that difficulty level based on the stakes that you want. You are making an Air of Destiny play. That's a 3, so you can play up to 3 cards in your spade
On
suit.
that, okay. So
So,
2 cards, word gets back to Margit.
so your stakes would be the word gets back to Margit.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? You want anything else out of that? What do you? What else? What do you really want out of this information getting back to her?
We want them to pursue us. Do we want
Word
to
choice
affect
target.
the... Do we want to have a... What advantage could we spin on this pursuit?
For a
I've got a-
pushover?
Yeah, I've got
We're a
a
push-up,
suggestion.
If we look like
Well,
a
if,
pushover,
well, if she's
they're not
coming at
gonna
us
get
personally...
everything.
Yeah, if there's... But if she's coming at us personally, she's probably going to come on her on her flagship.
But is she going to have the
kind of
whole
long.
crew on standby if she's not really expecting much of a fight?
True. I mean, this is the Majestic.
I've got a suggestion
Okay.
for you. How about this? As your stakes, one of her operatives overhears and word's going to get back to her. In a meta sense, and that's what stakes are for, is in a meta sense you can guide the story, she is going to try and ambush you or chase you, hunt you down. You will know, sitting around this table as players, that you have been targeted. Okay, your characters won't know this, but that's the stakes, right? If you win, you will also get a 1-card group cache that can be played in your first encounter with her.
Okay.
If you have a play that involves that initial encounter.
That one of us can play on
One
top of
you
our
can-
regular
yeah,
spread.
if it comes down to a play. If that first encounter goes by and it's not a play, or you decide not to do anything against her in that moment, then that cache just vanishes.
Okay.
But that's the stakes you'll have. So she's going to be after you. You know she's going to come up for you, and you get
One card,
One card
to
cache.
represent that kind of us getting the drop on.
well, you know she's coming. So you're like pretending like you're a sitting duck when you really. It's basically not being surprised when she finally springs her trap.
And can I help him with trying to target the right person?
You can, and the way help works is that you sacrifice one of your caches. So
Okay.
you don't necessarily have to apply it. You just say, I'm willing to sacrifice the use of this cache for myself, and give it to him.
Okay.
It's not narratively applicable anymore. It's just a bonus that he gets to add to his play because you're willing to sacrifice that. So what it comes out into in the game is when you're talking, you're playing your part. You're talking up this cargo. You're whispering about wine and all the gold you're going to get as soon as you get to Verdant. So you're
Okay.
playing your part in the story.
Alrighty.
Just as a
Then I'll just sacrifice this one.
Okay.
well, that's kind of the game point of order. Does everything have to be on the table beforehand, or
Yes.
if okay? So
Yeah.
Greg can't be like, oh, I'm too short.
I can't.
Everything's in your hand and you
Helping
play
him.
it at once.
Okay.
Right.
So three cards. You're assisting me.
I'm playing 2 cards.
You're playing 2 cards.
And I'm also going to play an opposition cache because she doesn't want you to know she's coming.
Fair enough. Okay.
Ready? So you've got 3 cards, up to 3 cards, and you pull one off of your play deck
Okay.
and contribute it to him.
Alright. Like that?
Yep. You ready? Okay, so you played a king, and in this case,
Combat strategy,
Strategy,
leadership,
that's diplomacy.
nobility, bragging about if anybody comes after us, we've got a
I'll say
cutthroat crew.
strategy
who can-
applies close enough that you could crown, but if you look at the cards, you've already won, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say in that case, I would give you strategy. I wouldn't really give you nobility or negotiation because you're not really doing
yeah.
those things. But this would be a great card, a great play for a jack because you're trying to be sneaky.
Yeah. We're engaging in an act of subterfuge.
Okay.
All right, so a couple clocks go by. The ship is quickly repaired. You've got the crew working around the clock. They are not dressing her up, but they're certainly making her shipshape. You feel much more at ease when the sails are bent on and she starts to look like a bird again.
Now, why am I scraping barnacles? I didn't even think that there was such a
At
thing
some
as
point,
barnacles.
at some point, several wagons of high dollar wine, both in bottles and casks, is brought down to the waterfront, and a bunch of surly, thirsty-looking stevedores, licking their lips, loaded aboard the ship.
That Amontillado looks sketchy.
I kind of just glare at them.
Yeah, your
'Cause
glare
Dumble's
is
giant.
convincing. You are huge.
Just look, stare at them, fold my arms,
You're
shake
not
my
very
head
good at-
slowly.
You're not very good at glaring. As a general rule, you really have to work at it because it's not your natural.
So at first, it just looked like I'm squinting.
Kind
I
of.
look a little less friendly for a
But you
second.
do have you don't want to see me angry,
Right.
And you can use your abilities, your attributes narratively. You don't have to make plays on them.
So basically, it's
So
in
at
this
lower
case,
levels, you can exploit them.
one of them is like kind of eyeballing it funny. I put a
Yeah,
big
is
hand on
this
his
crate
shoulder.
about to fall off the back of the wagon?
Like,
oh no!
Put a hand on his shoulder.
He looks over and then looks.
I
up.
trust you'll do the right thing.
Yes, this is yours.
Good lad. Put it where it's supposed to go. Also, I'm guessing they probably have a distinct brand on them, the casks.
Yeah, it
Is there any way to kind of mock up something that in a relatively dimly lit hold a water cask be made to look like another one of the wine casks?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a back
That was
project.
Easy enough.
Hey, do you want
Especially
me
with
to
the
paint
tools
that
you
up?
have available.
Okay. So, do you want me to do a play for that?
No,
or-
we'll just
okay.
assume that it's done.
Okay, so we have a backup.
You have the world's best toolkit with parts for most things you want to do. So,
So I'm going to make a couple barrels that are decoy barrels. They have water. So,
all right.
Oh, can we stick some apples in the one?
No.
if anything's heard knocking around in it, do you really think they're going to
No,
believe
no.
that's wine?
I mean, crushed up apples. They'll think it's vinegar. They'll think it's gone off. And then they'll get mad.
And do what?
We need a better decoy.
This is just a straightforward thing, all right? Don't worry about it. It's for appearances. I appreciate the effort, though.
As the crew of the newly skyworthy Majestic casts off the dock lines, raises sails, and steers an outbound course, you gaze thoughtfully over the rail at the many vessels crowding Haven's small harbor. It seems almost as if you could cross to the far shore, leaping from boat to boat. And with that thought, your mind drifts to the past, to a time when you were ordered to do just that. You stand on the deck of, this is in flashback, you stand on the deck of the old barge and see the flotilla of spent hulls and derelicts spread out before you. Lashed together into an obstacle course of swaying decks, you see the older students here and there lying in wait, ready to stop your attempt at crossing. Your boarding action instructor raises his pistol, and with the sharp report of the weapon, your cohort leaps for the first gap, and you leap with them. So one of the conceits of Upwind is that because the Academy plays such an important role in your training and your life, to the point that you become a starting character, I wanted to sort of inform the game and the setting. So it's recommended, though not required, that at sort of the beginning of every session, there's a little bit of a flashback. And then that flashback foreshadows something that's going to happen later in the game and may or may not give you a positive or challenge cache to use in association with that foreshadowing. Right? Cool. So it's just kind of a structural element to the way the stories would be told. So in this moment, you are flashing back to when you are novices at the Academy. And mechanically, there is an element to this. Don't do it unless someone ends up making a play. So we'll just tell you how it works. At this point, you, as a novice, and each level at the Academy has a different level, but at this point, your play hand would only be 3 cards, and your potential hand would only be 2 cards, because you just have not trained long enough to be any more effective than that. So, gun goes off. You guys leap into action. There are probably 6 or 8 hulls of various sizes, derelicts mostly, that are used for this kind of training. They've been lashed together in a rickety, bobbing bridge of vessels that go out into the sky, and the last one is your goal. The first boat crew to arrive there, all of them together, wins the challenge. And there are any number of upperclassmen, journeymen, waiting amongst the other derelicts to try and stop you. Life at the Academy is rough and tumble and often very dangerous. And some of you are likely to leave an exercise like this with broken bones and maybe even worse injury. So each of you can use whatever clever or martial or magical means you want to be the first boat crew to get to the outer deck. So narratively, describe what you want to do, and then maybe we can make what's called a multi-participant play, so everyone plays at once.
Okay. I've got a thought.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 skills that immediately come to mind for me, and those are Which Way Does She Go and Telepathic Twin.
So let's do this. Let's describe how you're going to get out there. Just describe, like you're just doing it. So tell me what you're doing, and then we'll worry about how you're going to do it later.
Okay. Well, my nickname is Zig, and I'm going to show you how I got it. And my
Okay.
brother is Zag, and he's going to show... they're not going to see him coming at all. So I'm going to tuck and weave, and I'm going to go out there right in front, and then as they come out towards me, I'm going to step back, and that's when he's going to kosh them on the hands or on the heads.
Okay, so you're basically doing your own kind of bait and switch. All right. So
I'm the bait, you're the switch. Do you think we can do this?
She's baiting, you're clubbing. Right?
Fair
You're working
enough.
your way ship
Come
to
on,
ship.
brother, let's go clubbing.
As you
Let's
do
go
that.
clubbing.
Sounds good.
You're leaving a trail of upperclassmen behind you. In fact, as a couple of your own cohort pass, you may shove them aside. I'm imagining that this is all bets are off, no holds barred, right?
I'm leaving broken hearts, you're leaving broken hands.
What are you going to do
beautiful.
to make it to the far side?
Seeing how I'm a teleporter, I think I'm gonna do the classic bamf, 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 and just misdirect them constantly. Maybe even get between a couple so they accidentally strike each other.
You're like, this is an easy one. Your instructors look at you and they're like, I don't even know why you're here.
I offered to stay home, but no, you said I had to be here.
He's part of the crew.
Gotta go through the training.
Well, exactly it. That's it, right? It doesn't count unless you're all there first, right? You could get there before anybody, but it doesn't
But
count
I
unless
need,
they're there as well.
but I need
Which
to
is why
support the
he's
rest of my
helping
crew, so I'm misdirecting and trying to draw attention.
Maybe one of these
Yeah.
guys is wrestling with somebody that's trying to stop them, and you appear behind them and pull them off, and then disappear again.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll use that look over there thing. It's like, look, he's over there.
So let's go ahead and do this. Then prep for a play. We'll do an all group play. So what you need to do is randomly discard down to 3 cards in your play hand, 2 cards in your potential hand. Just put them in your discard piles.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Nuts.
And are you Mark? Is that right? Am I remembering correctly?
No, I'm Mark.
You're Mark, and you're
Eric.
Eric. So Eric, how do you want to get to the far end of the floating derelicts?
Well, I read about it in a book once. The best route to get through. So that's a
Well, you know that most ships have crawl spaces down in the keel, and no one's going to be bothering to defend those,
right.
right?
Right.
And because these are airships, they have hatches that go through the hull and gangways and hold. It's easy to go through the hulls from ship to ship.
And I am wind powered,
Is that 3 and 2?
You can use magic and just float yourself across if you want.
so I'll be floating along the undersides.
Do you have flyboy? Are you the one with flyboy?
I do have flyboy.
You're probably just as easy as the teleporter to get to this
I'm
point.
saying if anybody actually tries to stop me, well, I'm a student of the sword.
I am just going to use fast as lightning.
All right. In a supernatural sense, it is just that. You can move to the far end as a blur if you're willing to spend the magic to do so. So if you are using your magical powers to do this, when you use them narratively in Upwind rather than in a play, you have to charge them with one of your potential cards. So that is drawn randomly from your hand. So you pull up your potential. So you're using potential, I think, right? You
Yes.
said you're teleporting. You're
Yes.
flying. Just randomly draw those cards. So just hold up the guy next to you, or shuffle them if you want, and just discard one of them. Because narratively, you have to power the magic, right?
And discard the other?
Discard the other one. Yep.
Would
And-
Brother and I be using our telepathic twins to coordinate our attacks?
If you want to, sure. So one of you can spend the magic for that.
Okay. You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Now you're as fast as lightning, so you need to spend magic narratively.
All
Okay.
right, just
Right.
play it.
Toss it. Yep.
So, and I actually will be using my mind reader ability to anticipate every one of their attacks as
So
I'm
I'm
moving
going this
forward.
way. No, I'm not, because you're ready to jump on me.
Kind of,
Okay.
yeah, basically almost just using a returning fist
Oh, there's
style.
someone hiding in that dark room over there. I'm not going that way.
Yeah,
we got
as
it.
they're moving
Okay, so
through.
you're leaping from cabin top to cabin top,
Yep.
swinging on ropes, sort of mysteriously avoiding everybody that's set up to ambush you.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to use Don't Want to See Me Angry. I'm kind of lagging behind the rest of the group because I'm not using magic.
I'll tell you what,
But-
nobody is messing with you.
Well-
you come lumbering across, and it's going to take you a while to get there, but they don't want anything to do
I'm just like
with
bouncing
Dumbo.
from hole to hole, bellowing like a madman, but at one point almost falling off.
The ship's
because I'm
pitch,
huge.
the planks screak, your foot punches through one of the old decks at one point.
So it's like, oh, crap.
Somebody steps around to stop you, and oh no, and sit back out of the way. Yeah, so you're just running as fast as you can,
Yeah.
but by virtue of that, you're going to be the last one there because you're slow and big and
Right,
deliberate.
yeah, but-
and all these guys are using magic to power themselves there. Now you're not
Okay,
not
right.
using magic,
No.
right? Yeah, you're just using your ability, I think.
Yeah, it's a straight up, ability.
Okay, so that's all well and good. Let's try and make a play out of this. Okay, we'll try and make a multi-person play. So you have each. Let's see. You know what? I think I'm going to forgo that. I think you guys did a good job describing what you want to do, and you spent your magic on it. Let's just assume you get there first. All right. I want to give you guys a 2-card cash for any kind of boarding action that you might participate in this scenario, if it comes up. Right?
What are the odds of that?
You know.
Yeah.
So we have right now we have 1 cash card for the first round of combat.
For your
against
first
the
encounter, whatever it
the
happens
first
to be. It might
encounter.
not be combat, but it could be.
1 card is not surprised. 2 cards are boarding actions.
Yeah, not surprised by Margit.
Okay. And then do we draw back up?
You can imagine that you all make it to the final garret. There is another crew there that makes it just about the same time. There's some arguing going on about who was first. Your instructor awards it to one of your 2 boat crews. Let's do a luck draw and see which of the crews was there first. Who wants to make the luck draw? Take 1 card off the top of your deck, compare it to mine.
7.
I got a 9.
That's the lucky one, isn't it?
You are second. The instructor awards it to another boat crew, your dread rivals. They don't let you live it down for quite some time.
That's okay. We'll get them in the end.
But the experience itself served you well, and you're able to carry that cash into the scenario. So yeah, at this point, when the flashback ends, you drop back up to your normal level. Normally, I would probably have had you make a play, but since you all spent your potential cards doing magic to get there, it didn't then make sense to tell you to make a play that didn't involve magic, and it would also have been unfair to have you make a play after you've all spent your magic cards. So we'll let that one be played narratively. As your ship breaks through a wall of dense cloud into a startlingly blue sky, a deep groan, more a vibration really, echoes through the cool air and into your bones. Behind you, a small hemoth, half the size of your boat, perhaps just a calf, breaks from the same cloud bank and glides inexorably towards the Majestic. It seems curious more than anything, groaning out its long rumbling calls and chasing your ship as if playing a child's game. It bumps up against the hull, rubbing its back against along the vessel's keel. A yaw mast snaps, leaving the broken rigging flapping in the Majestic's wake. Well, this could become a problem. So, this massive creature, you've seen them before. They are relatively gentle creatures. They travel in herds. They prefer some of the cloud forests, where they basically consume cloud forests for their food. But you've seen migrating herds before. This one seems to have been separated from its herd and is somehow taking an interest. Maybe it's just curious. It does seem young. Maybe it's just looking for someone to play with. But it's bumping up against your ship. The ship is pitching. People are getting knocked about as they look for rails to grab onto. The crew is looking to you expectantly.
Actually,
what do we do?
I have skymanship. I'll try to kind of steer it out of the way.
And I am going to use my sail your boat skill to jump, catch that rigging, and swing it back to the side and reattach.
Okay. So you're pulling in the rigging and trying to keep it from becoming a bigger mechanical problem.
Yeah.
You'd like to fly the ship out of range of the...
Without hurting it.
Right. So you keep edging away, and it edges up to you, and it just seems to be enjoying the game. Every time you move away, it's like, oh, cool. And
I'm gonna go up to the
Well,
rail.
actually, then that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kind of I'll do it like it's a game. Like, okay, you want to play? All right. Well, we're going over here now.
Okay. It comes back over to you. Another mast snaps off. These are the small ones that help control the pitch and yaw of the vessel. Okay. So now you've got another one flapping in the breeze.
I'd like to actually use...
You guys hear this huge moan.
What are you letting this thing do
And
to
this
my ship?
giant shadow settles over the vessel. As you look up, coming out of the haze above you is...
Hi, Mom.
Mom?
Which is why I'm like,
Probably twice the length of your ship.
Which is why I'm like, I'm being totally cool with the kid.
Yeah.
Totally
Well, I'm not sure Mom knows this, right? She begins to descend.
Which I like. No.
And baby, you are between baby and Mom, and she is accelerating downwards towards you.
Nope.
Right, so you grab the wheel and spin for all she's worth. You start shouting orders to the men: hard to port, up sail, pull in that rigging, get that thing on deck. You're gonna make a play.
What is it?
So, what would you like your stakes to be? What would you like to win out of your attempt to avoid getting? Obviously, you want the ship to survive, but we can be more creative than that. What do you want out of this?
Actually, how about Mother realizes we were actually just keeping baby company and safe until she found him.
Okay.
So maybe we
won over Mama.
We won over Mother.
So you have become non-threatening to Mother.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to smash your ship to flinders. What about?
Which is a good thing, because Flinders is way over there on the map. I mean, it's...
Would you like to maybe learn something about the ecology of Hemiths? You know, if you spend a little time, because you've gained its trust, maybe you could spend a little time with the herd and
yeah, we'll do that.
Collect some data and write a monograph, and maybe this will give you a
data.
Well, maybe you can get a cushy job at the academy lecturing for a semester on the ecology of Hemiths.
Yeah,
those are the kind of stakes you can create if you want to really kind of advance your character in interesting ways, or give texture to the story.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, so
Tom's play. So
you're going to hang out with the Hemith herd,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
Even at the cost of delaying your mission.
well, our mission is to capture Margit.
And we-
So
Yeah, essentially, we're out where we need to be. And also, we could probably use some repair time.
And also, they might be using paths that we're not aware of.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Very good.
What if they're riding the Hemiths? No way.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna.
not inconsistent.
All right, so let's see. If you fail, then what's going to happen is she's not going to buy it. She's going to feel her baby is threatened. She will
God,
attack the ship.
die.
Oh wait, I'm just using Skymanship, right? So yeah, it's one card.
There's one card. Yeah, all you're doing is flying, so I'm going to say you're not making any threatening moves. With a one card challenge, I'll say it's a one card challenge. But at that level, I don't think you're going to be able to get enough data to write your monograph.
Since we're getting data on this, can I throw in my cache of research to assist him?
You can.
And can we up the card challenge?
You can if you want to, but you've still got the one card to play with his cache. So if I played at a one card challenge, you're not going to get enough data for your monograph. But a two card challenge, yeah.
I'll try. Yeah, screw
You're
it. Go
getting-
big or go home.
You've got one card plus one from him for his cash?
Yeah, his is drawn blind though, so he won't know what it is. It could be low card.
And I've already pulled at least one ace that's
Yeah.
gone into my discard, so...
Are
Ready?
we?
Let's do this.
Can more than one person assist?
So
No.
okay, so we're playing, right?
Okay, yeah, two cards.
Oh,
Nice.
So you can crown that because it's an ace and they crown at all times.
okay. So play another card.
Yep. And so your
that would be
total-
from your deck, Tom.
From your
deck?
play deck. From
Oh,
the big
okay.
play. Yes. So you've got a 14. What did you give him?
A
9.
9.
A 9. Okay, so you have a 23. And I got a whopping 17, I think. No, a whopping 12. So yeah. Yeah. So you not only do you definitely avoid her, but as she rebonds with the calf and reassures herself that you're not a threat, you spend the rest of the day sailing with it. In fact, you stick the course that you want, and the mother and calf kind of follow along. Eventually, they're calling, and eventually some of their herd shows up, and there's this pretty awe-inspiring moment as your ship is flying through this bright white cloud bank, paralleled by a whole flotilla of these Hemiths. They're all calling to each other. The decks vibrate below your feet. It's a moment that as knights you will remember, as sailors you will remember probably for the rest of your lives.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, we all are.
Mr. Hammer, imitate that call. Imitate that call.
He does his best. It's not. They thought you were crazy. The crew was. Hemiths are good luck, but they know that they don't want anything to do with getting near them. And the fact that you didn't flee kind of frightened them a little bit. But
Are you people mad? Don't you see how much luck we've got? This is going to be the best voyage ever.
when they realize that you're just playing with them now and that you've been accepted as part of the herd, they're pretty happy. They do feel that this mission is going to go off well.
Okay, so for repairs,
So morale is good.
let's try to use the relic. So I just flip over the top card, and if it's a face card, I'm good. Or do I play from the hand?
Is this to repair the mast that they broke? That's a standard repair. You've got spare parts for those. You don't even need to worry about making the play.
Okay, cool.
With machines talk to me, you can certainly fix this.
Just I'm going to get.
Had you actually lost that play, then you'd be grounded, and I would have pitched stakes that would have required you putting in someplace and doing repairs. But you didn't lose, so.
Yay. You guys met Zig when you signed on. You knew what you were getting into, right? I'll help out with the repairs.
Hey.
I've got quick hands.
There you go.
Now you wound me, good sir. Are you trying to imply that I'm somewhat less than sane?
Oh no, everybody adores you.
So a couple of clocks go by.
Saying.
A couple
For a
clocks
variety
go
of
by.
reasons.
In a world with no sun and no stars, there's no natural way to tell time. There's not a rotating planet or anything like that. So time is what clockmakers can make of it. And time is divided into clocks. And because it doesn't ever get dark unless you go to the dark, there's not even that to mark its passage. So time is what they make of it. And the standard way that Verdant and most ships, as a result, measure time is through clocks. There are 5 clocks a day. Sorry, I should say through bells. There are 5 bells a clock. 1 clock is equivalent roughly to a day in our common experience. And then you build up rounds and turns into months and years and so forth. But I will say that several clocks go by as you guys are zigzagging back and forth on this course, hoping to bait in Margit and her crew. You do hear occasional talk amongst the crew, and they ask telling questions. You are merchants, but we just fly slow through air, back and forth, with hull full of wine. Are you are making delivery, or are you meeting somebody? Or is there something else? I'm sorry, I asked too many questions.
Did we not negotiate to like a really far destination for this?
You did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so
so
that's the logical explanation.
Would this be an opportune time for me
And
to
we're
bust
flying
out?
slow because we have to do repairs right now.
Would this be an opportune time for me to bust out? Can't help but trust
You
this
overhear
face.
some talking. Yes, but they have a plan. I think they know what they're doing. This is juicy bait for something.
Okay.
So
You're starting to see piratical gleams in their eye, and they look at you guys like with a little more avarice.
Actually,
We
I would
did
like
get
to
a loyal
approach
crew,
them.
didn't we?
I'd like to
Yes,
approach
we
them
did.
and using
They're
a
very
natural
loyal to
leader,
I mean,
gentlemen.
look
This-
at this face. This
that's like
put-up.
this-
You gotta trust this put-up.
This path may seem somewhat unorthodox to you, but we have
Unorthodox, yes.
so. But
It's good though.
I would have you put the trust in us that we know
I
what we're
trust you.
doing, and that we would and
It's
that we will
good.
defend everything and you to the last turn.
Yeah, we will defend. We will
They-
defend too.
They're expecting us to pirate something else, yeah? Is that kind of the vibe they're putting off?
Well, you hear a couple of them talking about shares and wondering when that's going to be discussed.
So
They think
Right.
we're the pirates.
Again, good judge of character. I'm just
Well-
I'm judging their intent here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what they think.
Right.
But-
So
but
we'll
look at it from
quietly
their
share
perspective.
this. Yeah.
You got a shitty ship. You made a splash about this expensive cargo that you're bringing on board. You hired a bunch of ne'er-do-wells. They are convinced.
They're on board with this piracy. I say we bring them in on it.
Don't say we're knights.
No, not that we're nice, but that we're going to take down the biggest pirate
You are a
in
good
the
judge
air.
of character, and I will give you, because of that, I will give you, if her reputation is as it seems, you could frighten them half to death.
Right.
Tell them that we're planning a tiny bit of piracy.
We're
The
setting it.
barest bit of barratry.
Well, this is the nice segue. So, the ship and crew settle into the routine of watch-to-watch sailing, and you begin to make your final preparations, laying the trap for the dread pirate. It is clear that Margit is a cunning adversary, and that your attempt in Haven to lure her into pursuit was successful. And if your attempt in Haven to lure her into pursuit was successful, then even now she might be hunting you. You know she is dangerous. The Old Majestic is certain to be outgunned, and you absolutely expect your small crew to be outnumbered. So exactly what sort of clever trap do you intend to set?
Okay.
From
Well,
what angle is her ship likely to attack us? Do we know anything about her ship? Or is it just
There
luck?
are as many stories about her ship as there are people to tell them.
She's a ghost story.
Okay. So trap number 1. I might have been able to work on this a little bit, but if you need to make a test for it, the railing. We can put sharp things on the railing, or we can have essentially a cord that we pull, and the railing comes loose. So they grab it, and it falls off with them.
At least prevent, starting off with a.
It gives them a little more to think about, and just make sure everybody stays away from the rails.
I'd like to try the relic to see if I can ask it what her preferred form or her most frequent form of attack ambush would be.
Go ahead and draw a card. She is a big fan of the ambush. Setting it up, like a set-piece ambush. Not like a flying out of the sun kind of ambush, but like...
From the clouds.
luring you in somehow and trying to... what you're reading is actually... you open the book, thumb through a few pages, and you see a journal entry from one of the captains who survived one of her attacks. And he goes on to describe that not only is this the way she took them, but it is something that other captains have shared with him over their cups as they bemoaned having lost their ships.
Okay. So we know that she likes to bait the other ships in, so she could be posing as a scuppered ship, something that's, been crippled, that needs repairs.
She could be stranded on a highland.
That's possible.
Puts up a flare or something.
How does my mechanic work on my relic? Look at top card, replace?
Okay, so you have this crazy looking pair of goggles, and when you put them on, you get kind of woozy-legged, and you can never really describe very effectively when you take them off. You kind of remember what it feels like, but every time you try and describe it, it just falls flat of the actual sensation. But usually you put them on and you call it seeing the future, but it doesn't really have a visual component so much as just
insight.
You consider, like, what are your options, and you're like, yeah, this is a good idea, or ooh, that's not a good idea.
Heisenberg uncertainty
so there's two ways. You can be done it narratively when you can consider two options.
Yeah.
And then you can also do it mechanically where you can look at will. You can look at the top card and decide to switch it out.
With what?
Cards in your hand.
With one of the cards
that are in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just right then and there?
Yeah.
So we have at least part of the boarding on there. I was also going to ask, at least in the course of my relic, for the glass whistle, would it be possible to see if we could get one of the other names of things? So, with the other hemas that work, since we are aware of the herds that are coming through, have them come to the call of the whistle. Since it could be heard at any distance.
I would imagine, unless someone has a magical power that they can use on them, it would take too much time to train them up.
I have Suze the Savage Beast.
As a magical power?
As a potential power.
There you go. If you want to use your whistle and train them to that, you spend one of your potential cards.
Okay.
And you do that narratively, so have Sean grab a card out of your hand.
Okay. So.
While he's doing that, I have eyes like a hawk. I'll be on scouting duty, and
You'll be the lookout?
I'll be on lookout, and narratively, can I use those goggles, and kind of look around at my environments, and that'd be a good place for them to sneak out of the clouds, there's a mountainous outcropping
really what you're doing
that
is
would
you're
just
looking at it and considering it as, is that a good place to hide?
I'm almost like you say, I'm almost seeing brief flashes of the future. Like they're coming right at me from over there somehow.
Yeah.
Zach. I got a plan.
Okay.
What is it?
Well, wait.
12er out of the fridge.
Okay. What we need to...
One by one?
Everybody.
Okay, what we need to do is we need to ask Domhnall how much copper wire he can get his hands on. Because if we've got enough of it, I've got a doozy of a thought. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that wire with me while I'm scraping the barnacles, and I am going to hide it along the rust in the hull. I am going to put a network of this copper wire all around the whole place, then I'm going to wire it up along the rigging to the crow's nest, so that when they actually get here and when they try to board us, all I have to do is pour enough of my arc right into it, and I'm just basically going to, cattle prod the entire ship. What do you think?
Seems like a good idea.
With your powers, you can actually do that without the wire. I mean, you can just tase everybody as they come aboard. Your advantage is you are 7 knights that are looking like mundane sailors. Knights are mechanically, both narratively and rules-wise, so much more powerful than the average person. And your powers, the way they can be used flexibly, allow for that kind of thing.
Okay.
And you can wire it up if you want, and you can do it straight up from your fingertips if you want.
Well, I was thinking that wiring it up would make it... It'll give me a montage. I like
Absolutely.
a montage. And even though I can do it without the wires, I'm thinking that the wires will give it just a little bit more boost.
Sure.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Just, give it a push. And then the other thing, I can get away with this because I don't sleep. Since I'm tireless and since I'm always moving. The other thing is that my stovepipe hat that I've had this entire time is going to have Uncle Fennig's Farlook stuck right up in it, so that the very second that Wink gives me the blink...
Uncle Fennig's Farlook gun is about 8 feet long.
Really, really big stovepipe hat?
No, well, yeah. The gun is this crazy Jazeel-looking artifact with brass knobs and a big scope with these little colored lenses.
Okay.
It's an ancient rifle that is phenomenally good at what it does.
In that case, can I have it stashed in the crow's nest?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking since there's probably 2 big masts, he's on the one,
so the way
keeping a lookout.
Just to give you guys an idea of the ships in Upwind, their masts are not, the sails are not vertical. They're more like birds. The sails come out at a dihedral.
Okay.
So there are masts in the middle of the ship, but that's so guys can go out to support the masts. So you can climb to a crow's nest, but there's no sails in the middle of the ship.
Okay.
They're all out to the side. The ships ride on induction hulls. They're buoyed by the magical power of the wind, the potential power of the wind. The sails are what provide the motive force. By trimming the sails, you can move back and forth in the wind and get the motive force from the hull. So the hull floats magically. The sails push it along and steer it.
Okay.
So you can climb up to the crow's nest and stow your gun there easily.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking that we're keeping lookout because he can see quite a big distance, and since I'm twitchy and not sleeping, I'm going to be moving from this crow's nest to that crow's nest. And
Okay. So you've wired up the ship. You are watching with your goggles. You have sussed out that it's going to be an ambush. That's just her modus operandi. Anybody else want to prep for this plan?
I see. Do I need to do the flip for my?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No problem. I was waiting.
So right before the herd, at some point the herd seems to be thinning and moving away. It's not interested in going the direction you're going anymore. You spend your potential standing in the back of the ship. The crew watches this with rapt curiosity, but some dubious concern. As you tell me what you do. What does it look like? What do you look like to the crew as you're calling to are you calling one of the adults? Or?
Actually, I'll call over one of the other younger ones just as the kind of test to see if we can get over. But I'm just
we're going to have a behemoth, or if we're going to have a hemoth, get us a behemoth.
Well, this is the test, so to see if I could get all of them to come. So this is the very first one, and I'm giving very, very controlled.
For each one that you call, you're going to have to play a card.
Okay.
And for as long as you maintain it, the card you play does not recharge.
Okay.
So sustained mechanical or magical effects, you can't replenish that card until you've dropped the effect.
Okay, so this will be.
So if you want to, you can get up to 4 of them, but then you'll have no potential otherwise.
So that might be good. So, all right, this is just the test I'm going to do. I'm using the glass whistle, just giving very clear, concise signals on it.
So you train it to come to this noise.
Yes.
Right? Because the whole idea... So here's what happens. You stand there holding the whistle up. It slowly comes to the ship. It's getting closer and closer and closer because you have to touch the whistle to it.
Okay.
The whistle doesn't work. They don't hear it unless they've touched it.
Oh, okay.
So the last person you touch with it is the one that hears. So you've got to reach out and touch this hemoth that is 3 times the length of the ship. The crew is freaking out. They're hiding behind things. Several of them have gone below decks. One of them is starting to sob. He's not sure what you're doing.
Okay, I'm going to drop down to that one, hand on his shoulder, just, don't worry, it's okay.
Actually, is it possible to make a normal play to calm them at the same time, or just...
I usually want you to do that.
Okay, I was going to...
Hey, I've got him
So
calm.
I have natural leader, it's just...
You tap it on the nose with the whistle.
Yeah, just gently.
Okay, and you use your potential to convince it when you hear this come, right? Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
Okay.
So.
And then you sail off?
Yeah, I'm going to just sail off on this one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just spend one more and get one more in on the ground.
Okay, a second one, the crew relaxes, and then the second one comes in. And they're not quite as shaken, but they're still worried. It comes by, you tap it on the nose. It also...
So do you need to kind of take any card out? Or, okay.
Yep.
So, all right, so these are gone. And
Questions. Game mechanic question. On the potentials, like what Aaron's doing, he needs to leave his card out if it's a sustained effect. Are there... Or how do you are there challenge effects on the potentials sometimes?
Yes, you can. If you're using your magic to do a play, then you use your potential cards, and they replenish at a rate of 1 per bell. So you get your hand back after a day, essentially. So every bell you'll get 1 card back until it's recharged.
Okay, but it can be. I'm just trying to think of how to say this. Like the opposed checks that we've done. That's a totally normal thing.
Yeah, you play it just exactly the same using your potential cards.
So now, as far as a game like meta thing, the Heard It on the Wind ability is that like a literal? I hear things on the wind.
Me. The intention of these statements is for you to stretch them as far as I'll let you. So if you want to have heard the pirate ship on the wind,
yes, I'm listening for the pirate ship on the wind, and I would like to use that as a sustained effect each day.
Very good. Go ahead and play the card. And you listen intently. The wind carries this supernatural sound to you. You hear a cow moo. And you realize
Another
with
cow.
some other like cowbell sounds and someone yelling about closing the barn door that you must be carrying a village on an island nearby. You listen some more, and the supernatural sound comes to you, and you hear a ship's bell and a sea chanty, and then it fades away, and then you listen. So you're hearing echoing behemoth calls, and so
that'll help
you're hearing
research.
calls of birds at great distances, well beyond what you can see.
Okay.
So you are distracted throughout the day by calls, and you stop and listen and wonder. But as long as you hold that card out, you can keep listening.
Okay.
In a nearby tavern, hey, pull my finger!
Stop listening. Listen to something else. Listen to something else.
That wind! Wrong wind!
And you hear crew below decks talking about how these sorcerers are going to make the best pirate captains ever.
Okay,
What did I tell you? Our crew loves us.
Until we find out that we're the fuzz.
So,
I'm securing some heavy
I don't know, I'm
objects
all about
on deck,
life of
actually,
piracy.
on purpose.
Okay.
Give me some
Here,
interesting research.
For a possible usage
We're
of Unstoppable
pirates.
Force later.
okay. If I recall correctly, you loaded a few cannons, right? You wanted some armaments, did you say?
I think we were talking about that. I forget what all we kept. I wasn't able to get surprise armament, so
That's all right. I
Well,
packed a surprise.
Okay, yeah, you can have some heavy objects. In fact, one of your favorite things is a rack of cannonballs. I mean, with your abilities, you are essentially as good as a cannon.
But so I'm making sure that that's available. I'm also setting up another odd thing. I'm setting up a number of harnesses that are roped to very secure spots in the center of the deck, just in case. So let's say we do something really stupid or dangerous that might involve possibly throwing yourself over the side of the ship.
Okay.
A good amount of rope with this, enough that we could potentially counterboard.
So like repelling teams, kind of?
Kind of. It would make repairing a mast easier.
Now keep in mind, you have hatches in the bottom of the ship and a whole gallery, like big open pool or big open hatch in the bottom. You can access things below you. I mean, because there's no to keep water out.
Right.
So it becomes a valuable sort of tactical advantage to have openings in the bottom. You can put cannons in there, and you can drop objects on ships below you and that kind of thing.
I'm just giving options for mobility, giving options for other things to like hurl. So,
all right.
One of the things I would like to make sure I have though is essentially like an extra mast strapped down there so that I can hurl that.
Okay, by a large bat or a huge javelin or something.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys are going about setting up some very serious and strange, and in some cases sinister mechanical advantages aboard your ship. The crew realizes that this means the quarry must be getting close. The avarice in their eyes increases. They are jumping to like they haven't been the whole crew. Anytime you ask for anything, they're right there because they're expecting this payday.
Oh, did I need to play
I would
anything
kill for a
or
pipeline spritz.
reserve a card for the eyes like the hawk ability?
Oh, I love it.
No, that's your
Gray
relic.
in the
You're using your relic, not your potential, right? As you pass the bottle of surprisingly good Voltish wine, some of the crates broke open, right?
Oops.
Around the wardroom table, you fall into retelling of past guild adventures, lowering your voices so that the crew does not overhear. Talk turns to how you each earned your most recent blaze of rank, and inevitably the tales are told again, certainly not for the first or for the last time. Now, each of you may be called upon here at the table to spin a yarn about the circumstances out of which you earned your most recent blaze of rank. Tales inspired by the single name or phrase listed on your character sheets. take a moment, and then each of you may make a luck draw. So if you look at your middle of your character sheet, it says Blazes of Rank.
Like
As characters advance in the game, you earn these Blazes of Rank, which are these sort of ensorcelled fluorescing tattoos. Most people have them down their arm. Some people who are maybe a little more reserved might have them up on their shoulder or on their back. The crazy outlanders who are garish about everything might have them down their face. But each one represents a significant milestone in your career as a knight. You get your first one at graduation. So you all have at least one. I think some of you have 2, and one of you might even have 3.
I have 3.
The most ranks anyone has ever earned in the history of the Brotherhood of the Explorer Knights is 14. But the average highest order knights, the sky captains in charge of men of war and such, have somewhere between 8 and 12. So you are near the bottom, but you've earned a couple, and each one comes with a story. So everyone draw a luck card, and high card will share their story.
8.
King.
I see a king.
Queen.
I see a queen.
5.
King. So, what is your last rank?
The Queen's Logbook.
Tell us about how you earned your badge of rank. Now, remember, you're sharing a bottle of wine with dear friends. They've heard this story before, but so you're going to have to embellish it a little to make it interesting. Tell us about the Queen's Logbook.
I'm going to start kind of in mid-array with this. So, all right. So I got sent out to get this stupid logbook, right? I said I was going to make it a short story, but forget it. We're on the long route. So I hunt all over town. There we go. I hunt all over town looking for this thing, and I have no idea what it looks like. She's just panicking. She's in tears. And finally, this guy I was working with, Ned, he tells me what it looks like, and I realize the jackass that I kicked out had actually been leaving at the time, and he had this blue book tucked under his arm. Well, and the quick version of that is that, well, yeah, I know where the guy lived. I saw him leave the same apartment every day. Like, he must have been planning this. So I go back. Turns out he was dumb enough to use that for his dust-off point, too. Really. You steal something, you don't go back to the same place where you've probably been spotted. Anyhow, I waltz right in. I lay down my cleaver, I just stare him right in the eye, and I smile, and I say, thank you. And he hands me the book. It was great. We let him off easy.
So that was probably the easiest badge of rank ever.
Well, I got it by virtue of having...
At least you worked for it.
Can't help but trust his face.
Well, it was,
gentle giant.
And she was very glad to get it back.
Right. And I didn't read it.
Oh, always the gentleman.
Exactly. Ladies come to have a secret.
All right, everyone except Sean,
Yep.
draw again. Because, the bottle's going around, and so the tails have to go around.
Oh, look, a Joker.
Oh, I see. Hey,
Sorry,
over here.
Craig.
Oh, someone pulled their Joker. Joker's the high card.
All right.
So
Story
tell us about...
The Wreck of the Heartbreaker.
The Wreck of the Heartbreaker.
You know what? Even after I got a good look at the Majestic, I had hopes about this mission because I remember a time that not too far from this one, I was under... I was probably still... Do trainees go on missions? Do cadets go on missions?
When they reach the rank of journeyman.
Yeah, still a cadet, but not so green that I had to stay back at the academy. And we got ambushed. Didn't see this one coming. This wasn't a let's get caught and try to shoot, stab, blast our way out scenario. But it did, and we did. But one of the lieutenants got taken in the crossfire, held hostage. Well, I had some cannoneering experience, so I hatched a plan, and time was short enough that there was nowhere else. We had nothing to lose at that point except our hostage, and that wasn't going to happen. Not on my clock. I fired around into one of the... What do you call the side masts?
Well, they're
Or are they just masts?
well. There's different ones depending on part of the ship, but yeah, there's just the rigging.
fired a shot into one of the masts. We were in some pretty dicey cliffs. That's how they ambushed us in the first place. Busted one of the masts, and in the confusion, teleported over to the ship, grabbed the lieutenant right out from under the captain's blade, bamfed back to the ship, and watched the ship just careen into the cliffs.
Oh, the poor Heartbreaker. She didn't stand a chance.
Heartbreaker got broken.
All right, you guys want to tell another tale? Or do you want to move on? So let's draw cards.
Just one more.
Well,
Okay.
let's draw cards.
One more? Okay.
Unless you've already drawn.
See an ace over here.
Not going to be me.
Ace and a queen.
All right, it's yours.
All right.
So tell us about
Burn it off.
The Great Ale Conspiracy.
the Great Ale Conspiracy. In fact, you can probably chime in because you were both there.
Yes.
Can I start us?
Well, he drew the card.
That's right. That's right.
It's
I get
it's his chance to shine.
Now, the thing is, there was this shipment of ale that was meant for the Commandant. And we
I love the
decided,
story already.
we decided that we were going to switch the ale for a lesser vintage. So we were working on that.
And we even dummied up the markings on the barrels, and we switched them out. And I mean, it was a page of a forgery job. I mean,
Seems to be a running theme in this game.
you wouldn't believe how well he did it. I mean,
And then
they
what
did it
happened?
so well I couldn't even tell him apart myself.
Well, the thing is, we did manage it. Unfortunately,
Somebody minored in art. Damn it, they're going to use it.
the problem was the Commandant recognized that it was a lesser ale after he took one drink. And there was a spit take and an investigation. Luckily,
We both
able-
got tagged for the investigation.
So you pinned it on someone else, and that's how you guys managed to get your blaze.
We got ranked up.
As a matter of
it was
fact-
the fastest investigation they'd ever seen. They said our tag team was amazing.
As a matter of fact, we found the evidence on that rival boat crew that made it to the end before we did.
And we told them they would get their comeuppance at some point,
And they
and
got theirs.
they got it.
Well, they're giving these blazes a rank away for nothing these days, aren't they?
Oh, hey, it was a masterful investigation, I tell you. We wrapped it up within a day.
A blaze of rank for perjury, theft. We, the noble knights, award you for your bravery.
You get the job done.
Well, there is a reason our crew was picked to imitate pirates.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our captain.
Now, I will only tell you one more time. Make sure you stay below deck until the crew comes aboard. Then spring the ambush. Do you understand? Stay below deck. Let them come. Be patient. We will be waiting in the rocks. We will come. The ships will dive. We will take them. Very easy, very clean. No one needs to get hurt.
They're waiting for us in the rocks. They're telling the crew to stay below decks until we come close.
Okay.
Several clocks have gone by. You've sorted through dozens of weird sounds and conversations when you hear that. You break through the clouds, and there ahead of you, across the visual horizon, is a tumbledown. It is best way to describe it is an asteroid field from Star Trek or Star Wars. It is a collection of tiny skylands that have broken up and crashed into each other and just made a debris field.
They're going to try and
And
drive us into that.
the pieces that are big enough to stay buoyant have remained. Those pieces that aren't fall into the dark. And even as you watch, you see a couple of the pieces collide and bits break off and fall down to what they call hard rain, for obvious reasons.
It's so hard.
There, just on the margins of the tumbledown, is a ship. It is adrift. It is listing. The sails, you can tell from here, are tattered and flapping in the breeze. That seems to be otherwise inactive and unmanned.
Are we walking into this trap, gents?
Let's
Well,
bring
there's
it.
a difference between falling into a trap and purposely walking into it on our own terms.
All hands to battle stations.
But don't look like we're going all hands to battle stations.
Is the listless ship moving? Is it drifting?
It's
or just is it
moving
there?
only as much as you would imagine a ship moving in the wind.
So, Move forward on the mast, gentlemen.
Stay away from the
Eyes
rails.
up.
Pull the cord.
Like, let's move like we got a payday coming.
I'm in my crow's nest and just.
The crew looks at you guys. Did I hear something of payday? Is this the target? It does not
Don't know
look-
yet.
it does
Out
not look like
of
it.
out of character.
An equal share to every man, Jack. What takes one of the scurvy pirate crew?
I'm going to put on a great big
No,
old
don't
smile
apologize.
because
Don't
they can't help but
apologize.
trust me.
I said out of character. That's all.
It's good. It's good.
Don't worry.
Natural
It'll
leader.
be all right. Just make sure. Just
If this is the target, gentlemen.
things might get a little bit ugly, so you might just want to kind of keep a low profile.
When you say things might get ugly, they produce knives and clubs out of like thin air.
Rick, where did you get a grenade?
Their
Exactly.
eyes, their eyes scowl.
It was hanging from the lampshade.
Put those away till we get
Oh,
some people on board. We want them on. We want
Yeah,
them on.
like
We
David.
want them to
So you're going like,
blow
what,
them
someone pulls out a
in
grenade.
full
And stay away,
They are-
and stay away from the rails.
Where'd you get a
Stay away
grenade?
They are
from the
going to
rails.
try
I
and
see
ambush.
ladders. I will not touch.
They are going to try and ambush us, but we're going to turn it back on them.
All right, let's go over the ground rules. No touching of the hair or face. Like, of course. And that's it.
They're waiting for rule number 2, and then they realize there isn't rule number 2.
He's just getting on the face.
Like, guys, I'm just quoting Ron Burgundy. Don't you? Have you seen that?
First rule of sky pirating: you do not talk about sky pirating.
Well, no, until you get to port, then you tell every people.
Then you tell everybody
No, no,
because
no.
sky pirating.
So, how do you want to approach? You're at the helm.
Yeah, I'm actually. It's like it's like we're going in. It's like, hey, this could be. Maybe we're going in to help. Maybe we're going in there to loot it. But I'm kind of like just kind of keeping us at a advantageous angle. Like we're going in, assuming this is
You're
our
getting
target.
closer.
Yeah, we're assuming this is our target, but I'm kind of going in tactically.
Focusing intently. I still have the spell up.
You're still listening.
Yes.
Okay, you hear whispers of conversation. They're talking about a sweet score. They're talking about this fat duck full of wine that Gilliard reported leaving Haven.
The idiots are using the majestic. Can you
Yeah.
believe that shit?
Yeah, you hear the word like majestic, and then you hear a lot of laughter, and you hear someone say, "This will be easy."
So I guess you give us the thumbs up.
Yes.
All right.
What I'm most listening for is when they go, now! That way
Okay.
we know when they're going to spring.
Right? You don't hear that.
But I'm waiting for it. As Tom brings the ship in. Or as
Yeah.
Tonio
I
brings
see a
the
ship
in.
coming.
Hey, has anybody spotted a real ship around here outside of that
Close
thing?
that gun port. You hear clunk as a gun port slam shut.
They have gun ports, gentlemen.
All right.
I guess that would.
Okay. Question is, do we want to attack them as soon as we get in range?
So as you get a little closer, you realize the ship appears to be unmanned. There's no one on the decks. There's no one manning the guns or the sails, or at least the guns that are on deck. And there are a number of them.
Watch the rocks.
Yeah.
So
These
how do you know
pirates.
what you guys are actually going to do with your ship?
Okay. Why don't we go ahead and make just a pass by it and see if we'll act as though we're heading straight into the rocks.
Well, but it gets people like, all right, let's check this out. You know,
Just a pass by, I guess.
Okay, so you sail past within what range? Cannon range?
So yeah, let's make it.
Spyglass range or shouting
I'd
range?
say
Sailing
that we
range?
should just fly it down in. We're flying a piece of shit anyways. Let's just bump their
I
deck.
think cannon
Hey,
range should be
this is a
interesting.
majestic
no,
piece
okay,
of shit.
we'll go within spyglass range so he can actually listen in to see if they're watching us.
Oh, they're watching.
Oh, they're
us.
watching, yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, like I say, let's
There's a buzz of conversation makes it clear, like, a ship is coming, who's coming, shh, quiet.
They're waiting on us.
Do not go up on deck until they have come aboard.
Then probably I think we should make ourselves
They're
a more
expecting us
tempting
to board.
target by going ahead and acting as getting close enough to see if this is with salvageable. So I would honestly say gun range at this point.
do we have guns?
We have a couple.
I've got one.
You have a
I mean, does our ship have
you have
guns?
4 guns.
Or reinforced, correct?
This ship has 6 on deck and then a row of gun ports.
If we.
They're waiting for us to actually board that ship from the sounds of it. So they shouldn't pop out or fire on us if we just get close.
Is it better to take us intact as well as our cargo?
If
Right.
I'm going to run to the head if you guys want to figure out your plan and
Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
So yes.
I'll give you a topic.
amongst
The
yourselves.
It's just
Holy
by,
Roman
past
Empire
the
was not holding
stairwell.
more Roman
So-
nor
Yeah,
Empire.
that's right there.
Discuss.
See it?
Okay.
All right.
I would like to use Eyes of a Hawk to one.
I'd like to use win the game. Because I clearly have that.
I would like to spot and see if there are any secret compartments they're going to pour out of, or if they have guns coming out of. Also, to burn cards so that I can draw and hopefully draw more diamonds, so I can use Cannoneer Extraordinaire.
Well, you might be able. Well, and also Sean might be able to use either Machines to Speak to Me or Skymanship to see how this could be rigged as an ambush vessel.
And if we have a Hail Mary play, one of my caches is Rash Behavior.
So and that
Well-
can work as well.
I've got a thought that is absolutely crazy, absolutely risky, and
It'll never work.
it will absolutely never work.
Thank you.
But I'm thinking that I should board their ship, exercise a little bit of my shocking behavior, because I found out from wiring up our ship to where I can, stand on top and electrocute at just the right spot, that I could just dance with a little bit of lightning and throw it around and create a couple more
You have,
zigzags.
you have lightning
Made for
magic?
Walking in the
Yes.
background.
Cool.
While he's dancing.
Shocking magic or shocking behavior is level 3.
I'm still for.
I have
like,
teleport. I have
Or
flamethrower.
Thunderstruck.
Oh, I was thinking about figuring out where their engine is and taking that out with
Well,
the improvised
I
javelin.
think they're going to be really thunderstruck. So,
Well, but I have an idea.
But remember our objective. Our objective is we're trying to capture the pirate.
Right. That's why I'm saying if we can come down, not like ramming speed or anything, but like
From
bump
above.
down on their ship, jolt them all off balance, and then we can just board. They'll have to take time to recover.
So approach from above and use our boarding from above.
Since we've got that
we got a
big
moon
hole in the
well
bottom,
and drop.
yeah,
True.
exactly. Since we've
Okay,
got
seems
just-
like a good idea.
drop down, bump their ship, throw them off balance. We board.
Do you want me to damage their ship ahead of time?
Or actually, we can. There's a simpler method for that.
We pop the hatch.
I can use
Look,
one of our.
and you know, if-
there ain't nothing wrong with a little bump and grind.
Is it nice? I was thinking if you want to drop the hatch and then I open up with a couple of flung cannonballs.
Or if we can go see Lab.
They won't see that
drop
coming.
the fucking hammer.
No,
We're not
I'm
going to
just
drop
thinking.
Hammer. He's a good guy.
I'm just thinking, like,
Don't listen to the
something
hammer.
with enough impact that they're going to be thrown off balance, and we're going to have the time to rush them.
Having
rather
a
than
magically
just-
assisted cannonball flung downward at your ship might throw you off balance.
possible.
We're
It's-
going for an attack from above. We're going to
Okay.
go over
So you're going
and drop
to
down.
swoop in and hold position over them. How high above them do you want to be?
I did set up those harnesses and ropes.
So you're going to actually
grapple them.
disembark and go down to their ship?
after
Yeah.
we make some type of attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and if you want to, we still have our two
Right.
hoarders, so I can go ahead.
We also have that cache
Or,
about not being surprised.
Sorry, but I can command. I can
Oh, yeah.
get one to just bump them.
Quick question.
You could call the whistle. I mean, they're not here right now.
Who is going to be boarding and who is going to be staying with our crew to make sure that we've got a ride home?
Well, I guess I'm the pilot, so
I have
where do
to
you want
pick-
me?
Okay, you're going to give us
Somebody's
support fire. You're going to make sure that you still got both hands on the wheel. Hey.
We're knights. We're totally disciplined.
I think we're going to go for a little bit of shock and awe. So I think I'm boarding.
I'll stay up as a potential for
Wait,
bringing
you're
you
either
guys
place.
back.
You can handle both.
If you
I
guys are
kinda feel
using
like
the ropes
boarding.
to descend,
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming you guys are going to stay harnessed up and not, like, just stay on the ship down there.
Do we know how many ships they have?
No.
Is
Good
there,
question.
Is there a way we could find out?
As you sail in above the target, he shouts some orders and pulls back on the wheel, and the sails are trimmed to bring you to a relative halt above the derelict. You hear several shouts. You, who have been watching for this the whole time, see it immediately. 3 ships detach themselves, come out from behind the different boulders in the tumble down, and begin to descend like hawks in the stoop.
New plan. Let's use that escape power.
So they are swooping in on you, and you can see a ravening horde at the rail of each one, knives in their teeth, gun ports open, gun barrels sticking out, and they are clearly headed your way, looking to take your vessel.
Can we figure out which
whistle goes
vessel
off now.
she's on?
Okay.
So you blow the whistle.
All right. I'm gonna use one of my potentials, Wall of Wind,
Okay.
and do it at.
Number 2?
Yeah, we'll just say number 2. Or is there a ship that looks more dangerous than the others, or are they all pretty much the same?
They look pretty formidable across the board. They're swarming with voracious-looking pirates.
Okay.
Each of them is sporting a number of cannon. But since you're looking, one of them is flying a giant red pennant, incredibly long, like exaggeratedly long, and it has an inverted. It's a red pennant. It has a big inverted red heart on it.
Okay, that's the one I'm going to target then.
Okay. So you're going to blast them with wind.
Yes.
What is your? Let's make a play out of this. What do you want to happen?
I want to knock that ship into one of the others and have both of those ships be more focused on repairs than trying to attack us.
Okay, so you're trying to incapacitate 2 vessels, 2 vessels full of pirates. One of them appears to be the flagship. That's a pretty tall order, but that's a good tactic. And if you fail this, so it's not only you disabling them, but they're out of the fight. Essentially, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, good. If you fail this, what you're actually going to end up doing is blowing your own ship into the derelict down below, which means the pirates waiting for you aboard that ship are going to swarm onto your vessel.
Okay.
Is that a fair trade?
Sounds like it.
Fair cop, but society's to blame.
You're taking 2 vessels out single-handedly. That's definitely a 3-card play.
Okay.
So time has passed. If your potential hands are not back up to 4, they should be.
Probably with the exception of mine, since I'm holding.
Unless you have a sustained power.
All right.
Okay, let's see here. If this is your lucky day, I do not have a very good hand of cards here. All right.
Can you assist
I'm
with
saying it's a
potential?
3-card play, but I've only got 2 of the suit that I want to play, so I can only play
Okay.
2. You are using Wall of Wind,
Yeah.
so you can play up to 3 cards in that suit.
Okay.
Do you want to use a cash card with it? Because they are definitely going to use an opposition cash card.
Yeah,
Will this
I'm
count as
gonna use-
the not surprised one?
Gale.
Yeah, you can use your potential card. That's your breed card. It adds to your potential. So,
Okay.
ready? Play those cards and then add one from your play deck.
Okay.
Okay.
And since he's
And
got
you got an ace, so you can crown. So add another one from your play deck. I can also crown because it's a martial action, and I have a king. So I got a 29 plus 5 is 34. You've got 20, 39. Yeah. So you win the stakes. You stand up, throw back your cloak. All of your crew is like, "Oh God, we're so dead!" They're starting to yell and scream. They're looking like for the lifeboat. They want to get out of here. And you just go like this, and suddenly there is this huge smash of timbers as the 2 vessels are blown into each other. So you see pirates falling off the rails and
To
and
fall
down in
forever.
the dark. Yeah, you see spars shatter,
whatever.
sails get caught up everywhere. They're shouting and screaming. There's orders being given. Those 2 ships are kind of stuck together and now spiraling away from the fight.
And then just look at the man like,
Okay.
and they're like, at this point, dude, I'm just like, you are the one.
All right.
Wait,
You always have to one-up us, don't you, brother?
no,
Oh, that one. It's
the
going
crew's like,
down.
we're not worthy.
Yeah,
We're
the
not
Jimbo.
worthy.
They're not actually sure who to be more scared of now.
Okay.
We got a cannon, right? Didn't we?
Yeah.
For in case of emergency.
Get in the fight, you scurvy dogs.
All right, so you are
You're
going
getting
to
into
do
this
what?
pirates
Okay.
game, aren't you?
I'm aiming
I am.
at ship number 3, their last big one.
Am I talking like a pirate?
Well, the
I
one that
didn't
just
even
popped
know.
out.
Okay.
I'm going to use a little bit of shocking behavior.
All right.
And since he went all Fujin on the others, I'm going to go all Raging on the other, or on that last
There's a
one.
colony of feral
Nice.
cats that roam the neighborhood.
I'm basically going to pour
why I
as
don't let her
much
out.
into it as I can,
They eat
aiming more
alive.
to incapacitate them. I basically want to shock them within an inch of their lives.
You're basically tasing the ship.
Yeah, the entire ship.
Okay.
To the point where they just have no fight left. I'm figuring this way we can take them in for questioning and...
If you win, they've all been knocked unconscious and the ship is yours.
All right.
If I win, your shock, your arc power sets off their powder magazine. The ship explodes, and since it's on its way to you, it careens into you
We rescued her. I'm sure.
and incapacitates your
3
ship
weeks
long
old.
enough that the other pirates get away.
Well, that's fair enough.
She was cute.
Let's see, I will cash. I'm going to use my Sparky Greed,
Okay?
because if there's going to be sparks thrown around, I'm going to be the one throwing them the right way.
Okay? So that's a 3-card a potential, and you get to add 1 from your play deck. And we reveal. I'm playing a Joker.
Okay.
Jokers win automatically.
Jokers to the left, here.
And so you stand up there. The crew is watching for the next play. You can crown, but Jokers automatically play. They trump. You get there. You light them up. Sails ignite in flames. You see several people go down as they're tased, hair standing on end. The crew, they were scared enough of
I
him.
always like that part.
Now you're firing electricity in the air, and they don't know what to make of it. Then suddenly there is just a massive explosion. You're blown on your ass. Everyone on the deck is knocked down. Your ship is pushed out of the way by the shockwave. Masts snap and sails rip. In fact, a couple of your sails start on fire as debris comes raining down. Their ship falls out of the sky as its debris kind of collides with you. There's a big cloud of smoke, and everything is total confusion and fog of war.
Is there a way to deflect a lot of the damage to our ship by using a potential immovable object?
Well, narratively, the way the game works, once you've agreed on stakes, that's what happens.
Gotcha.
You can't do anything to
No
negate
damage
those.
control.
Now, you can deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
Or you can say during the negotiation, oh, I don't want that to happen, or can I help to avoid that, right? But
Damage is done so it can be mitigated, but it can't be avoided.
when the smoke clears, when you have managed to right your own vessel and get your crew back on its feet, you realize that you're alone in the sky. You see this large hemoth just come out of the clouds and do a circle around you and looking at you curiously out of one eye. You cold?
So we did, although we probably
Is this the young
bullshit.
man or the mom?
This is one of the ones that he trained.
Like,
So it's a big bull.
It's like, hey,
It's a big bull.
It's like, hey, Harold.
Hello.
Our ship's probably inoperable at this point because
No, it took enough damage that it's going to take some time for you to re-rig some sails,
but it won't be okay.
tie some knots, put out a couple of little smoldering fires, but the ship itself is still sound.
Okay, what's the other pirate ships have completely gone?
They're still
Well,
derelict beneath us.
the two that were kind of entwined and spinning away, they're nowhere to be seen. And the ship down below is also gone. Now, you will have... Certainly somebody saw them leave, right? They all stooped, which means that they turned down the power on their induction hull and just dropped, right? So even the ship below you, it was clearly floating still, so it was still functional. They didn't sail it away, they just cut power to a minimum level and dropped as fast as they can without ripping the ship apart. It's a very dangerous maneuver because you don't know what's below you, but when you're a pirate desperate to get away from what are obviously explorer knights, it's really your last bet.
We could have been any kind of crazy power.
Actually, I have an extremely dumb idea.
Oh, good. Those are the best
They are
kinds.
clearly getting more crafty. They sent them after us, and that was a clever ruse. I will need to speak with the men. We must retreat. We must retreat to our home and lick our wounds.
They're running.
This isn't how I initially interpreted the ability, but I have a crafty idea. Could I, if I dedicate the potential cards to it, could I use Flamethrower to throw the flames that are on our ship away and make it easier to clean up and repair?
Absolutely. Yeah, you put the fires out just by controlling the fire. So spend a potential card.
Okay.
I got a weird question.
Anyone in particular? Is this a play?
No,
or?
it's a narrative use. So just spend one at random. So have someone grab it or shuffle them and flip one out. So we're looking at about an hour. Is that
58 minutes.
Okay, guys, dumb question. What ship was she on? Did we think about this before?
Probably the big bannered one.
Right, the one that we didn't want to
flagship.
go away.
And that's the
So-
one that dropped, right?
No,
Well, they all dropped.
They all
Okay,
dropped.
those the surviving ones.
Okay, so
You can the hull is
essentially it's just like run silent,
you
run
just
deep.
power down the hull, and it starts to sink. The more you power it down, the faster it goes.
It's pretty much just like run silent, run deep.
Yeah, they're
So-
diving. There's a very kind of submarine warfare feel to the.
So like,
as
can
well.
we like maybe engage some active sonar with your ability?
It's still going.
Yeah, I'm still listening.
You hear a higher pitched voice. Finesse, I think it is important that we make full sail and get back to a home as quickly as possible. You hear a deeper, also feminine voice. No, I think it is feminine. No,
Very feminine.
We must go back. We must go back.
I am a woman.
And we must take them. We must show them that this cannot. No. You must understand. You must know
They're
when
arguing.
to strike and when not to strike. I realize, but you must trust me. No, but they cannot.
We should drop
your
and take them
reputation.
now while
Your
they're
reputation will
indecisive.
be.
So, all right. Then
Let's
I'm going.
go.
Then I'm going to send down the other one for a little surprise bump
Okay.
on his trajectory.
Okay, so you're just following with you. I mean, you don't know where they are, but you can search them out and bring the. Are you bringing the behemoths with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh God.
If they only come to you, they can't really go anywhere else. You haven't. Really
Yeah. No, we're keeping them as the honor
You've told
guards.
me I can kind of ascertain which direction the sounds are coming from, so I'm
They're down in like that direction.
pointing in the general direction.
Okay.
As best I can
I need
ascertain
a
where-
test from somebody, a play from somebody that involves navigation or ship use.
Skymanship?
Skymanship.
Okay.
Can I do an assist on yours?
If
Maybe.
you want to, yeah.
Okay.
So this will be a 2-card play, and the play is to find them in a way that allows you to maintain the tactical advantage.
Is it possible for two of us to give to assist or just one?
At this point, the rules work only one.
Okay, because I also do have.
I don't really like. I'm playing with a lot of different helping rules, assisting rules, and none of them have worked quite the way I want. This is sort of a new one that I'm testing
Okay.
out.
Because you went to, I do also do have anyway. Always knows which way the wind is blowing.
Okay, that might be more helpful. I don't know. So
It's one card either way.
Yeah, it's mechanically it's still just one card.
okay, so give it a shot.
The interesting meta effect of Upwind is that, or of the Q system, is that it doesn't matter how you describe your power. It's always 1 card, 2 cards, 3 cards, with maybe a cash, with maybe a crown. So you can have, I'm good with a sword, or you can have, I'm the greatest swordsman that ever lived. And they're still, if they're both 2-card skills, they're equally matched.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Is it possible to cash in our?
what do you want the end result of your chase to be?
That we find that we actually come upon them in a tactically favorable manner for us.
Okay.
Like we come up directly behind them.
So you come up, they don't see you.
They don't see us. We have,
You have the physical advantage of being above them.
Is it possible to cash in our not surprised cash?
You
Or is that-
that was the first encounter with them.
Okay,
You could
so-
have used it in the last,
Right. Okay.
but nobody used it.
Yeah, that
But
would
we
be
do still have 2 from our boarding actions.
If you want to do a boarding action, you can use that if that's what you're doing. But this is not a boarding action yet.
Yeah, this would just be
So
good.
you have tactical advantage. They won't know that you're there. We'll leave it at that. Make it a 2-card play. If you fail,
Well, I can only play one, so but yeah,
right,
it's 2.
you play 1, I'll play 2. If you fail, they you will find yourself between their 2 ships, and they will begin immediately boarding.
Okay.
Great.
You'll come out of a cloud between them, like, oh shit, and they will storm over the rails.
Just like my honeymoon.
Oh, this is going to end poorly. All right, ready?
Yep. Let's do this.
Okay, let's see here.
Just do it.
I am not having the best card draws.
That's fine. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's
The Joker was perfect.
Well, that's that's
But he can't play. He can't play another one.
Yeah, I can't play another one.
the compliment
Oh,
is the good
sorry.
part of the rating.
This is my mistake. We're not going to stop to do this because we've already got a play underway. Whenever someone plays a Joker, you reshuffle your play deck.
Oh yeah. Right.
Okay.
Okay?
no.
So the rest of you can do it, but we've already drawn cards, so we won't for the moment, and then we'll do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Reshuffle your discard pile
No,
back into
yeah, not your potential deck, just your play deck and the discard pile in your
I think I'm
hand.
good with that play.
And then you draw a new hand.
Okay.
Do we have to do that? Or
every-
Yeah, it's a rule. So that if
Everything.
you have, that's part of the reason for it
Tension.
mechanically is you don't want to hoard all your best cards.
By the way,
Till the end?
If Skymanship is hearts, I can only play hearts on it, right?
Yeah. And if you have a shitty hand, this gives you a chance to get some better cards.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And we are reshuffling after this, so okay.
All right. All set.
All right, let's do
it. Okay.
You have a king, I have a king and a 2. This is a martial situation, so we both get to crown. Go ahead and crown. So I got a 6, I got an 18.
I got 13.
13, and someone was helping you?
Yes,
And
that was me.
So you're sacrificing a play, okay, and that's the card that you would have given
Yes.
him? An ace, okay. Now you can't crown that because
But-
it's the helping card.
But it adds.
But it adds. It adds 10. So you've got 23,
23.
and I've got 18. So you win. You have plunged quite a distance. It's remarkable how far away they are. In fact, given Vault's location along the border with the Twilight Frontier, you are certain to have crossed into the Twilight Frontier. It has gotten dimmer, darker, colder. The clouds are chill. You realize
It's just kind of chill.
you're starting to realize maybe why they've been getting away with this for so long. If their hideout is actually in the Twilight Frontier, not only is it a very dangerous place for them to be, but no one's certainly going to be. At least the Vaultish authorities aren't going to be hunting them into the frontier.
I was just laughing because I was sure he was going to say you've crossed into
The Twilight.
the Twilight Zone.
Mr. Saw glances to me. Are they crazy? Are we really doing this? Looks back to them. Looks back to where I am. I'm not there anymore. I've popped down to the cannoneer deck.
Okay, so you've got men manning the cannons, and you're serving as a gun captain.
Like, man,
Yeah.
you know that time when we...
Or whichever gun's the biggest, I'm physically controlling it.
Man, remember that time when we told you there would be carnage and you would be the ones dealing it? That time's now.
And I will
I'm
become a
going to be
king.
boarding with you. I feel a little responsible.
Actually, I was going to start with the giant mast
Okay.
on the less important looking ship,
All right.
specifically.
Okay.
Why are we boarding the little ones when we can get the big one?
No, he's not boarding the
Oh.
I am knocking the little one down. I'm going to be putting a giant mast through it.
Ah, okay.
Because, well,
Because reasons.
Okay, brother and I went clubbing earlier. He's going clubbing now.
Javelining.
again, I'm picturing like, tree trunk barreling through something. So I'm trying to aim for where I think
A
the
tiny
engine might
elephant with a southern accent?
Okay, now,
Tree trunks?
every knight knows, because of the lore they've learned about potential, that the closer you get to the source of the wind, the stronger your potential becomes, the more power you have to access. So mechanically, when you enter the Twilight Frontier, you gain one additional potential card for your hand.
Draw.
Immediately?
Immediately, yeah. Well, I mean, narratively.
Okay. Would that still affect me since I have those two ones?
You get the new card
Okay.
anyway.
Okay.
Right? So your hand size goes up to 5.
Okay, I just want to make
If
sure.
you're actually in the dark, your hand size goes up to 6 because the potential is so strong.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
So
Like that.
I am hurling tree trunk through a sensitive spot of the smaller ship.
Okay. You come out of the clouds. You see the vessels through the dimness. They're just silhouettes now, right? It's hard to see the. You've had to don don coats, hats. The decks are wet and slick with the chill rain, and you're catching glimpses of these silhouettes through the haze. You're trying to use the cloud cover as cover so that their lookouts don't see you. But the three of them are. Well, let me take that back. Two of them seem to be hell-bent on putting out as much sail as they can. One is lagging behind, the one clearly that was being used as the Potemkin derelict. It is just doesn't have the masts and sails to keep up. You still have your ears on, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear guttural speech that you probably haven't heard much before. You may have at different times in recent past, but you recognize it immediately as orders being shouted by a child of the dark.
Oh.
And as you watch, the sky erupts with cannon fire out of a cloud bank, and the lagging ship is peppered with a broadside. And a huge man of war, a big black silhouette, breaks through the clouds and begins to engage that ship. Just cannon volley after volley, as the other two ships put on more sail and are attempting to flee.
Wrath?
So do you want me to take a pot shot at the man of war, or do you want me to go for the small ship?
You instantly recognize this by its lines as a Child of the Dark vessel. And a man
I don't
of
think
war
they've
is,
noticed us so far.
Yeah, and as a man of war, and as crewed by the Children of the Dark, this is well beyond the capability of your small vessel, and probably well beyond the capability of even 7 knights. Given the suddenness and the lack of ability to plan a complex ambush or a sophisticated subversion, I'll tell you for free that you can't take them in a game of broadsides.
But if we do cripple one of the ships up ahead, it acts as an extra target for them.
But it also announces our presence.
We could wait for the cap.
Hold on. Are they going to know exactly
the
where
Children of the Dark? Those are
that giant pole
opposed to
Those are
us.
the bad guys.
It's not loud.
They dwell in
Sounds
the
like
Children of the Dark.
crossbow.
Okay.
They have.
Still,
they are the
it's
MacGuffin
an
of the
indicator
setting.
that something else
They
is out
are.
there.
They are a little known race of people who are beginning to creep out of the Twilight Frontier. Essentially, the kingdoms in the light and the lands of the dark meet at the Twilight Frontier.
Okay.
And the economy of the kingdoms in the light is driven by the salvage that's made of the Master's technology.
Okay.
And so you've been scouring the Twilight Frontier to collect what you can because the kingdoms of the light have been scraped clean. Well, presumably so have the children. And the encounters with them have increased as you've both delved deeper into the Twilight Frontier. And there have been incursions in the past and actual war. And many believe that you're in the midst of the third incursion and that war is inevitable. So you're not in outright war yet, but it is building to that.
But we should not be the one. We should not be the crew that starts the war.
You have two options. You can try to fight the children, and if you can come up with a clever plan under very demanding circumstances, you might be able to slow them down, disable their ship, but you're certainly not going to take them. Or you can chase after Margit and her escaping pirates.
Let's go after our primary target.
We can report on their presence. I agree.
Well, the thing is, we may have the option of gaining an ally in this case, because from what you've been hearing, it sounds like there's some, at least argument of, arguing on the other ships. So, if we disable them, rescue them, and then make a deal, we can see if we can bring them to our side.
Kier? Which one of the horribly awful ships did you want to make the deal with? The Children of the Dark who want to eat our faces, or the Dread Pirate and her Dread Pirate crew
Who
that
hate us for crippling 3 of her ships.
I'm afraid that the adage at this point that fits is the enemy of my enemy is my enemy's enemy. Nothing more, nothing less.
And you are failing to see the potential larger picture.
Their ships are so badly damaged that they cannot make good speed. You will be able to follow them, given your current tactical advantage resulting from that play, probably undetected as they flee the child vessel. But if you stay to engage the child vessel, they will get away.
I say, I'm actually set course. Let's chase after our primary target.
Yeah, we're here for Margit,
Agreed.
not to start a war.
But she's going to probably will be slaughtered by the vessel.
Well, all best. The more they thin out her numbers, the better.
Then, if you're wanting to save her, it's better if we're close to her. So let's go.
Okay, the cannon fire it recedes to the distance. You can still hear it. It's really loud.
They're still
In fact, it's
blowing
making
that
hard to
ship
see
apart.
almost everything. And then it trickles down and goes away, and you hear some screams, and then some. Yeah, and then.
I'll stop listening in that direction
Okay.
at this point.
Let's move the sonar forward.
Yeah, that's.
And then you hear another big explosion.
Oh, that was a fatal shot.
That was the end of it.
So you have an option. You can try and take them here in the air, or you can follow them to wherever they're going.
Well,
I don't want more loot where they're going.
But there's also
should
potentially
follow.
more ships.
There's also reinforcements where they're going.
This is true.
So I say,
It's also potentially the Dread Pirate Margit's hideout.
Mm-hmm.
And they, at the moment, don't seem to know that you are tailing
And
them.
shutting the whole thing down, because if we just take Margit, the other crews will continue pirating.
And she'll become a martyr.
Yeah, and that only partially accomplishes our goal. I'm about following her and finishing it all the way.
Hey guys, do we even know exactly what she looks like?
That's another issue. We're not even confirmed that it's her on the ship. So
We might as well.
From the
follow
arguments
them.
I'm hearing, though, she has a very deep voice.
Let's follow and wrap this.
I can
whole thing
recognize
up.
her voice.
I mean, we're knights anyway.
Well, you can recognize some voices.
yeah.
Yeah. So
You know, the thought that occurs to me. Historically, pirates, especially female pirates, have tended to dress as men. Is it possible that the one with the deeper, more masculine voice is actually the Dread Pirate Margit's...
Paramore?
Well, I was going to say masquerading as Paramore. Her cohort may be a woman disguised as a man pretending to be a pirate.
he says Peacock was a man?
So, you guys are taking the stealthy pursuit option? Is that what
All right,
Yes,
yes, we are.
yes, we are.
Okay. So half a clock goes by. It is a challenge to keep them in sight, but you have a unique pair of goggles, and you have a skill called Eyes in
It's like
the
a hawk. Yep.
And I'm sure that others of you could stretch your potential into keeping track.
Like, in our
Since
sonar.
my skull penetrates cover on my rifle,
You can look right
I'm
through
just
the
going to
clouds.
keep track.
Yep, no problem.
I will be using my wind-powered potential to push our ship so that we stay in range.
You have no trouble keeping in range because they're affecting repairs and going faster and faster. But when you crash them together, I mean, the stakes were you disabled them, right? And the only reason they got away is because gravity, right? So
Gravity,
you have
our
no
harsh
trouble.
mistress.
You have no trouble keeping pace, but you're ready with the wind in case you need it.
Right. Okay.
and we're probably affecting repairs ourselves too.
Sure. And
That's
yours
why
were
we have a
fairly
crew.
trivial. So the crew is now very dubious, but they're also very frightened of you. They are not. They are working hard. They are no longer acting like avaricious pirates.
They're now fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, average.
Avaricious pirates. Excuse me.
They're fighting for their lives now.
Yeah, they're like, let me just get through this. Let me just get through this. Let me just get
Take
through
heart, boys. We were outnumbered 4-1, and we've got them on the run.
I'll offer them a reassuring smile. Don't worry, it's under control. We're professionals.
this.
We are trained
Look,
professionals.
they're down to 2 ships. We've already taken out half of them.
Like, I'm just hoping they don't have 5 more docked at their hideout.
would it possibly be the ability to use
Antonio,
say never to
helping or
bolster
hurting?
their
Helping or hurting?
bolster their
How are you
spirits?
using it?
Specifically, promising that this is leading, despite the threat, this is leading to an even more lucrative treasure.
I don't see how never say nevers can do that.
Okay. Or
Because
just
all they would hear is the 2 nevers.
Or just persuasive.
Again.
Or just persuasive. So
Sure,
I
you can be persuasive.
Okay.
You don't need to make a play. You just convince them that they just need to keep their head down and stay calm, and you promise
Or
they
maybe a speech like, look, we're not doing this for money.
and that would actually work for me. 'Cause
We're doing it for a shitload of money.
That would go for my trade.
Tell jokes with the crews we're going. Just so let them know we're calm.
I'll tell you this. They are tense. And if you expect them to do anything other than run the ship under normal circumstances, I'm going to ask for a play to keep them under control. Okay? Not because they're trying to betray you or mutiny, because they are scared shitless. Not only do they just barely survive an encounter with the Dread Pirate Margit, they thought they were the pirates, so that table got turned on them. Then they realized that they are riding along with a bunch of sorcerers. Some of them may be starting to think knights, but the rest of them still haven't connected those dots. And they just saw a Children of the Dark Man of War, and you didn't seem to care. That's probably got them more frightened.
That's how good we are.
Most people would have turned tail and risen as fast as their ship could go. You guys said, "Oh, we'll leave them for later," and you moved on.
Yeah, we'll take care of that later.
Yeah.
So they are
Especially since we're doing it in the ship that everybody knew was the
a
butt
piece
of
of
jokes.
shit. Yes.
So as I'm
It's
sticking
a
with a few things.
majestic piece of shit.
You can imagine that there will be tales told of you in Vault for cycles to come.
So, that was actually going to be my play. I was going to go for force of will on mine. Since we're all basically going to... What I suggest is we all grab a couple of crew members And instead of big, impressive speeches to the entire crew,
Calm them down individually.
yeah, if we calm them individually in 2s and 3s, I think it'll go.
Speeches
a little
and pats on the back and a few kind words in their ear. Like I said, they're going to do their job, but they're ready to crack.
I'm being friendly, so it's like it cuts to, Domhnall.
Let's pay
And so
some
the pirate
price.
captain says, it be driving me nuts.
Without a play, he's not going to change their disposition.
Oh, switch that over there.
Without a play, he's not changing their disposition, so let's move on.
I just thought it'd be a great
I will
thing
make
to
it
drop that one.
Well,
You guys
I'm
like
not
hand
asking for a
puppets?
play. Yeah, you
I want to get that on recording.
players can ask for plays if they want. But given our time, I'm gonna move us to sort of the closing
Yeah.
scenes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry.
You are pursuing the ship. Everyone's is
Red alert.
hyper vigilant. Right?
Red alert.
You sense it first, I think,
Yeah.
because of your goggles.
I'm still in the
sky
cannon.
is blotted out. It's suddenly darker than it should be.
I'm still in charge of the cannoneers, but I've got the goggles
Sure,
on, just
sure.
waiting
And
for
you can
something
look
to
right
go
through the hall.
wrong.
You don't have you can look through stuff. You've
Yeah.
got your gun out still, right? And you realize that there's a darker silhouette against the dark background of the Twilight Frontier. It's dark enough that you can sort of see someone from the stern of the ship to the bow of the ship, but you might not be able to identify them.
This is
It's
totally
not pitch
metal.
black, but there is something ahead of you that is large and very dark. And you hear many voices, so many that you can't pick out individual sounds. It's just noise.
We're here.
And you see them slow down and approach the cliff wall of a large blocky highland. And over the rim of that island is a rime of ice coming down off of I guess would be a waterfall if it wasn't so cold. And it's just coating the side of this, and it's dripping water and it's glistening in the dimness. And you can see them turn on some arc lights. So these bright spotlights are shining on the icy surface. And one after the other, they just disappear in a shadow, through a shadow in the ice.
So it's a natural cover. We need to navigate through that.
Right. Well, we've come this far, lads.
So, would it be possible at this
How
distance to
many
use Mind
voices did
Reader?
you hear?
Too many.
Hundreds, maybe more than 1,000.
Maybe we should take.
Would
the
I
ship
need
back
Mind
there.
I
Reader?
mean, it was a crowd. It was like a concert crowd.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring.
I didn't possibly clarify this when we were doing the flashback, but would I need to actually be see who I'm at eye-to-eye contact for Mind Reader, or to know who I'm
Yeah, you can't do it. I
at a
mean,
distance? Okay, I wouldn't make sure.
I don't know. I mean, if this was your character, you would have written that power. You might have had an idea. I would imagine to be an effective mind reader, you at least have to have the person around.
That's what I was thinking,
Right,
so
yeah.
I want to make sure
It
before that.
makes some sense. To me.
Tom, do you want to do
You
a
hear voices like, "Oh, the captain's returned!" You hear some people shouting. You hear orders being given. "Mommy, I'm hungry." You hear.
Shut up, you.
You hear.
There's
Go
children
get
in
Grandma.
there."
Tell her dinner's ready.
There are children in there. And
The
old
captain's returned.
Then
Prepare
again, we are
prepare
seeing
for
this.
docking.
The situation is not what we thought.
We've got cargo to offload, man. Look lively.
Well, it's morphing for certain.
So,
Can we? What's this island look like?
I hope they got the medical supplies.
Is there a clear
It's a
power
big block of black stone because it's a silhouette in the dark. And one whole face of it is basically this ice fall. And
Okay.
they've just disappeared.
and I bet you anything that they're pretty much going through. Yeah, they're. Looks like they're going either through a cascade. Oh, they're a secret entrance, or they might be using a potential to liquefy that part of the waterfall and then refreeze
Well,
it.
you guys have a broad range of skills that would be
So-
very effectively used in any kind of
I was
scouting
about to say
or
with the torrent,
reconnaissance.
with the possibility of torrent. So if with the water,
Well, torrent isn't so
Okay.
much a skill as
Okay, just
a boost to your potential.
oh, okay.
Would a stonework potential be usable to actually get a good feel for the actual masonry involved in the construction of the inside of this island?
Yeah, if you could get your hands on the island, I'd say you could get a sense of what it's shaped like and what it feels like if you're willing to spend the potential.
Yeah. It's just a spend, right? It's not a.
Well, you've got to get. Are you guys going to the island? Are you getting that close?
Get me close enough. Get me close enough to actually touch.
Scholar
this thing.
Stone.
Okay.
I'd like to try that again. If anyone has written anything about this rock,
That's an ace. Is that an ace?
it's
Joker.
Joker. All right.
Yes.
With a Joker, you flip through a couple of pages and you see Captain's Log. And
Story time, fellas, gather round.
you read through a couple of pages
stories.
of the discovery of the perfect hideout by the dread pirate Margit. She's actually documented in her captain's log the discovery of this place and her decision to bring the refugees here.
Okay.
And she talks about the stores they brought and the people that came and the jobs that people are being assigned and how this is going to be perfect. It's just inside the frontier, so no one's going to look for us here. And I bet the children don't know about this place. These caverns are perfect.
Refugees from what?
It doesn't say.
That's
Does it detail the
difficult.
the entryway?
No.
So we know that there are, and I am reading this to the fellas, we know that there's refugees inside, but just not refugees from what?
And we are the honorable knights. We're not actually pirates.
Yeah, you're not murder hobos.
No.
We're not.
Hey!
But remember,
Well, I mean, you may be
She's-
now, but when you graduated, you weren't.
If she's robbing
the
and killing
Explorer Knight's
people,
pledge
We have yet to kill anybody.
to honor the Brotherhood. Well, speak for yourself. To seek the knowledge, to defend the kingdoms, and to defy the dark. That is what we have vowed to do. We need to know who these people are so that we know whether we are defending the kingdoms from them or if they are part of the kingdoms that we have sworn to defend. It's very important knowledge. We have to ask.
and in any case, if she's robbing and killing people to support her community, we need to set the record straight.
Well, I've
That's
only
just
heard
it.
We only heard of the robbery, no actual
Yeah,
murder.
well-
We hear the robbery. And what has she stolen so far? Other than a few things that are a tiny bit fungible, like wines. Mostly she's taken medicine, food, things that these people need.
Everyone draw a
Stealing
luck card.
bread
Everyone
is-
draw a luck card.
Stealing bread
They
to
were-
feed
they
my
were loaded
family
for bear when
is
they came
still
after us.
stealing.
Queen.
6.
She had a 10.
Everybody be a queen.
Yeah. No,
Tie.
I got a jack.
You get this ominous premonition. Not so much supernatural as just
The gut feeling.
a gut feeling based on your tactical training and your experience. When the children are done with that first ship, they're probably going to come looking for the rest of them.
We need to talk to these people and open up a negotiation
We need to
now.
evacuate this rock.
So they will be
Yeah, at this
coming.
point, I'm thinking we do need to make contact with them.
So
No matter where you go, there you are. Could I help? Could I
anything?
Could I help you
I have
intuit
this
the correct way to
awesome sword.
approach
I
this
haven't got
island?
to shove in anything yet.
so
Let me throw a best
No
at
matter
it.
where you go, there you are. Could I use that to help
Hugs. We just-
intuit?
we'll
Like
murder eventually.
maybe if we approach it from this angle.
That was a navigation skill in my mind, like a master of maps.
I wasn't sure how to interpret that.
but that's fine.
Other than
I think your character has a map case, right, with a bunch of charts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of what that skill was supposed to be. Was represent that you're a pretty skilled navigator. So if you want to like scope out the ice surface and use your goggles to do so,
Oh, yeah.
or actually you. Could
Oh, wait, I don't have any
no,
charts. Never
I don't know
mind.
if you can look through ice. Yeah. But
Well, it does say sees through cover.
yeah, you could look through the ice, and between the two of you, using your relics, you could guide your ship into the interior. You know that there is an interior simply because you can see the opening now with your goggles. Did you want to go and get an idea of what it's actually laid out like?
Yeah,
It's about 30 degrees leeward.
figure out the way that we can get in without getting murdered.
Well,
As far as I
if you were a pirate band and there was a choke point for ships to come in and out of your hideout, what would you probably do?
you'd set it up with traps or immediate defenses, kind
Net,
of,
ballista.
Cannon emplacements is
Yeah.
what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
right?
or just
But
rocks
if-
to drop on people.
But if you were a bunch of sneaky knights
Sneaky nice.
that wanted to get in some,
there might be an
So-
alternate route on that is
Oh,
not shown.
just a gut feeling,
Get
but
me
I
to-
bet there's
wait
a
a
blind
s-
spot in between those.
Get me to
Surface
the
to air
rock. Let me just talk to the rock, okay? I just need to talk to the rock.
I think I can get you there.
All right.
so you
You know,
can,
that doesn't sound crazy at all.
you can steer the ship right up. You've done it before. You can steer it.
Touch.
You can steer right up to the ship. It's
So,
hard
how's
to
the
get,
family?
It's hard to get the ship up against the rock without
kind of-
a little bit of finesse. In fact, it kind of grinds against the stone, and one of the masts goes. But the hull is now kind of against the rock, and you've got the wheel over, kind of like forcing the bow into the stone.
Keep her steady. Pull the glove off. Slap the big hand on the
The
rock.
starboard mask
Okay,
is
spend
broken
a
again.
card.
Spend.
Random potential card.
Okay.
not that one. No.
Oh, is that the good one? That was the good one. Oh, well.
No, that's good.
It's also a measure of how good the result is, though.
Okay.
So you've got
and you
ace
can
quality
crown it
result.
because it's
Yeah.
an ace.
Well, you can't. It's not playing, so you
Yeah.
don't crown.
So just...
It's not playing.
Okay, what are
And
you hoping for?
I'm getting a full mental map then and trying to get us a safe point of ingress. It's like...
How literal are you being about that? I mean, you have the power. You touch the rock. I want to get in. The rock starts to fuse around your hand and make a tunnel.
Can I get us a... Can I get us right into the...
That's an open point for the Children of the Dark, though. That's the problem.
Well,
I can close
it's
it.
man size.
Okay.
And you can also close it. He's opening it.
Okay, so
How about I want
that
my
if it's,
ship?
Can I open it? Can I open a path big enough to their docking area without damaging like living areas, things like that?
You can't sense what you can sense openings in there, but you don't know what they're using them for. You don't know what
Okay.
people are there.
Just go through the solid rock and you'll be fine.
So, just kind of go through the solid part, give us a big enough hole that hopefully we can get through it without destroying everything. And I'm shooting for
Okay, now
the big...
you have to get out of the ship,
Okay.
and you're standing in your hole,
Okay.
and
Domino, make sure you put
you're going to have to
stairs in this
walk
time.
through and like part the stone ahead of you,
Okay.
and you're going to have to steer the ship through if you want the ship to come with you. If you want to just
Okay.
disembark and walk in, you can do that too.
Do you guys want to bring the ship in, or do you just want to go on foot?
Let's take the ship.
Yeah, we should probably get the ship out of sight.
Because the sailors aren't freaked out enough.
yeah.
Now we're going to fly into
They're
a
staring.
rock.
Dude, we can just look at mine. You know, this is Tuesday.
So, again, show of hands, ship,
Ship.
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 Yeah.
us.
Shit.
Ship.
Alright.
All right,
It's
so
unanimous.
Both.
you leap over the rail.
Just start
It's
walking.
slow going, but it's some sort of weird tectonic Moses.
Ripple.
Right? You're pushing against the rock, and you're sweating, and your clothes are stuck against you. Even
I'm
in
muttering
the cold.
to the
Sean
stone.
will now be tectonic Moses.
You're forcing the rock aside. You're carefully driving the ship. Masts are scraping on the walls. A couple of them
Stop
snap
it.
off.
Stop it, you.
There's not much wind left, and you feel the power actually as you go deeper and deeper. You feel the ship is beginning to settle down now
Wind
because
power?
it's not getting. If you can push it forward, but the problem is the farther you get away from the magical wind, the less the hull functions. So it's drooping. You have to bring the power up. It starts to grind on the ground. You bring the power up a little more. So you're afraid you're going to stall out as you continue moving forward. Imagine what this must look like from the other side. So there's these people who are offloading these pirate vessels. They're talking about the children. You can hear them mention. They're worried that the children may be in pursuit and hope they don't find the hideout. You can hear kids running and say, "Daddy, Daddy!" They're meeting their parents on the dock. Husbands and wives are... And then suddenly the wall opens up above them, well beyond the cannon emplacements. And you're standing there, this massive, massive kin.
With a grin.
And you got
Hi, everybody!
that might be worse.
Here's
A
Donald.
welcoming, happy smile on your face. And then the bowsprit of a ship comes out over your shoulder and out into the space.
You
and
reach
kinda
up, grab the underside,
Yeah, maybe
swing
you
you
pull
back
yourself-
into the hold.
Yeah.
pull yourself up by the bow netting.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
And the ship comes out into the middle of this huge...
Now, is everybody
Cavern.
watching that? Because I'm not doing it again.
And everybody in the village stops moving and stares up. And what you see below you is this huge cavern, most of which appears to be natural, but there's been lots of sort of tiers cut into it and caverns so that it looks like the whole village is occupying the inner surface of this cavern. And it tumbles down to a fissure that's not wide enough for ships to come in, but it does let wind blow up, and as soon as you come out of the hole, the ship buoys, and actually you have to
Lower power.
pull the
lower
power
power.
down so you don't bang into the ceiling. But the whole place just goes silent. There's not a voice to be heard.
I have
Actually,
come to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
No.
And I am all out of bubblegum.
I'm going to step up onto the bow,
Okay?
just very quietly, because I'm hoping there's a good echo
Smiles,
here.
everyone, smiles.
We wish to have a meeting with the dread pirate Margit, please. We do not come. We are not coming in threat, but to warn of the threat coming to you.
Okay, we need to make a play.
Yay!
I am assuming the stakes are something along these lines, and you can modify them as you wish. If you are successful, they do not turn the cannons on you. They do not reboard their ships and engage in ship-to-ship warfare here in the village.
That would
They
be
take
bad.
you at your word, though cautiously,
Will
and
gentle
let you
giant
disembark. Is that fair for your stakes?
That sounds fair.
If you fail, they will do their best to attack. They will try and re-aim the cannons that were protecting the entrance. They will reboard their ships and try and sail out into this lagoon and have a close quarters combat with you.
Okay.
And the children will arrive in the middle of that.
Okay.
So would it be possible to assist with gentle giant, or is that just asking too much? Like, to show up, I'm not threatening. I did open a big hole in your wall and
How
shut
about
it.
this? What about the smile? Don't you have? You can only trust. You can't help but trust me.
I don't. I can't play that right now.
Well, but he's making the play, so
Okay,
you
so-
can spend a cash to help him.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, so-
So that'll be.
I'll
I'll just say
And I can spend a
stone
cash on
breed, I
my-
guess. To say that I'm helping.
I have had the worst
Or
cards
sociability.
all night.
Good.
Adoptability.
Yeah, big sociability.
You guys
Sociability.
are really lucking out.
So I'm spending the cash to help.
Okay.
Okay, I am going to spend a plot cash card,
Okay.
and you ready?
Joker.
There you go. That's when those need to be played.
Yes.
Nicely done. Yeah, so I would have gotten the crown because I have an ace, but you got the Joker, automatically. So the place was stunned into silence. So your voice booms out over the rail. You are playing persuasive. Is that what?
I'm doing the persuasive, and also, since this is the time to stop doing this, and I've mentioned the Children in the Dark, that's when my saber
You
comes
drop
out.
the sailcloth off your sword and hold it over your head.
Yeah, it just comes out of the cane, so
Okay.
it's...
Okay. Maybe more
Cane
dramatic if it
thing-
was a huge broadsword, a little like thin. but
Dude,
it's
I could
okay.
do it. I have a broadsword.
Maybe you hold
Actually,
yours up.
all of
and
us,
then
all of
everybody
us, all of us doing it at the same time.
With our powers
It's like
combined.
Thundar the Barbarian or
Yeah.
something, right? Okay.
Ariel, Ookla.
There is an obscure and old reference, sir.
Dude.
Props to you on that.
Ariel,
Bit
Ookla.
obscure.
We
I'm still
ride.
waiting for Ukla to mock the role-playing game. But,
Oh, God.
so, cutscene. You know, if this is a movie, you've got like, raw, you all hold your swords up. Now you're sitting around a table, and there are charts laid out, and there's a chaos of noise in the background as people are yelling orders, and kids are crying, and parents are shuttling them along, and no, that's too much. Just bring what you need. You can tell that there's an evacuation going on, right? You are sitting at a big table like this. There is a huge woman. She is probably almost as tall as you are, and weighs at least as much as you do.
I like them big.
I
In
think
fact,
it's love.
she can't seem to help keep her eyes off of you, because in her life there have not been many men that she thinks could go toe to toe.
Big smile.
She
So, yeah.
she seems anxious, and is all business. Standing next to her is this little whippet of a woman with an oversized ledger. She's got ink stains on her face, and her hands are covered in ink, and she's scritching down everything that's being said. The conversation is already underway, and you guys are trying to convince her that you need to evacuate because the children are coming. And she is concerned about not the evacuation, because she agrees that's why the orders have already been given, but what's going to happen to her people when you take her in. So she is negotiating for her people to be taken care of. She
Basically,
doesn't care about whether
asylum.
she's being arrested.
Yeah, asylum for her
Actually,
people.
First question. We understand that they're refugees. Where are they refugees?
They are more than that. They are from all along the frontier. They are, and this is the voice you heard before, the gruff, and she's very, very concerned, almost in tears, not out of fear but out of emotion. They're all from along the frontier. They have been burned out of their homes by that so-called navy. That the Voltage hired those mercenaries. It is not. I cannot believe that you are not bringing them to justice. This is a travesty.
Putting a hand on her arm. You have my word as a knight of the kingdoms.
I don't know knights. I have never met knight before. How do I know the word is worth anything? This is horrible. These people have no place to go.
Actually,
They will
take my
die.
hand.
I am feet.
Other hand. Take my blade. Hand on the blade. Edge in. I swear by my blade.
Is this thing?
This is a thing. Do you see
This
the
is
blade?
thing?
This is
With
thing.
knights?
So,
Making my play on force of will. She's going to believe every word I say.
So what are you trying to convince her of?
Your people will be taken care of. That's the most important thing right now, is that we get your people out of here. They will be taken care of. We are going to take them directly to the kingdom of...
But without me, that will not be possible.
You're coming with us.
But then
We're all-
to jail to be hung as pirate. I'm not pirate. I simply take care of my people.
considering
the word
it's
for
like,
pirate and the word for patriot are very similar.
And
sometimes,
Not in Voltish.
Well, we're not going there.
well, it's like
That's where
that
I-
is not our destination.
Not
at
in
this point.
Voltish, but in Verdant. It's a country full of... It's a kingdom of scholars. People who understand. A kingdom of understanding.
Okay, let's make a play. You're going to use force of will, you said?
I'm using force of will.
Okay. She is in a... This is going to be a 3-card play, because she is very worked up, and the only thing she cares about is her people.
I will use my culture personal honor to support.
Okay?
I appreciate that.
Can anybody
can I
else
use,
support?
The way the rules are right now, and we can debrief about them.
Okay.
I actually would like some input from you guys about the helping rules, so we can debrief after the game.
And
But-
question, can
but
I tag one of my caches as well?
you can always tag one of your own, but
And-
right now only one person can provide aid.
And what's the
Okay.
support? It's a blind draw?
Blind draw, yeah.
Support is a
Okay.
blind draw.
And you're going to cash as a blind draw?
Yeah.
So you're playing a
I
2-card
just
play?
grabbed that one. I've got 2 cards left in my potential, and I'm using them both.
Okay. So play your cards. Oh, the
how's
Joker.
that for a blind play?
Oh,
That was the
needed.
Joker, was the blind card?
Yeah, Joker was
Nice.
blind. I was using the Queen because I thought, this is
Joker.
diplomacy.
I am
Three
grateful.
jokers in the last
I am
half
very
hour.
grateful. She looks like she's going to lean into you to cry, and then she leans on the big guy.
Pat on the
Grab
shoulder.
him, zig him in,
I am willing to go with you,
step stool, climb up.
even if it
hug
means
her.
I am to be hung.
You are not going to be hung.
We'll make a case
No matter
for you.
what,
You have
There's a difference
the
between a
absolute
pirate and someone
worst.
taking care of their people.
that will happen is prison.
Oh,
And I
even if
swear.
I go to prison, it is okay. Will you come to
Sure.
big boy?
You know what?
She's looking at you, sobbing.
And that's why on our
actually
crew we have an
forgot to
old
describe
saying:
her
for great
face.
justice, take off every zig.
She's right now. She's looking a lot like the Joker, but usually she has like full-on white, like Queen Elizabeth, with like the red circles and the fake smile thing. With all the combat and the soot and the smoke and the tears, it looks pretty horrific.
My
right
shoulder
now.
has a weird smear on it now.
Yeah,
Pat on the
inside
back.
your face. You realize that the little whippet of a woman has put down her book, and she's tapping, kind of calming the woman down, tapping her shoulder, and she looks over at her and she shakes her head. She says, "No, you will not go to jail. This is for me. You have done your work. This is what I do. This is for my people." And you realize in that moment that this is not Dread Pirate Margit, but this is Dread Pirate Margit.
our administrator. So
I figured.
And she said, "No, you cannot." And they have an argument in Voltish, and it's really heated and emotional, and they're hugging.
Oh, let's not. We don't get involved in that. No.
You know what?
You're feeling awkward, like,
There's not like
waiting
a
out
death
here.
ship coming after
So we
us.
should brought one of the.
That's
Let me bring more.
Margit,
Go now.
if I may.
But we'll discuss it on the way.
Yeah, we will do everything that we can to. It's like to bring a defense to you, or once we are in Verdant.
Okay. As you conclude your conversation and stand up, the entire room shakes as you hear cannon fire out, echoing from the lagoon outside, the cavern outside. You hear screams and shouts. Is your ear still up, or have you played that card down?
I've left it sideways like that, so it's not on my sheet, but it's still in play.
It's not in your hand. Okay. So the gunfire is horribly loud, and you hear orders in Child of the Dark being shouted. You don't know what they're
here.
saying. And as you pour out, I'm assuming into the ledges, looking over the lagoon, you see that they have fired their broadsides into the ice sheet, and it is beginning to collapse, so that their opening to the cavern is just getting huge.
Is there another way out of here besides that?
Says, "No, that's all we have."
The tunnel we made in.
Well, no, that
Well, it's-
closed. But guess what?
Damn it.
How close am I to that other entrance?
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a multi-participant play.
Okay.
All right? The way this works is each of you decides what you want for stakes and how you want to solve this encounter. Right? How you want to resolve this encounter. I make a single stakes that stands against each of yours. We all play, and whoever wins, wins. If I win, it's my stakes. If you win, it's your stakes.
You're playing against each of us individually.
Well, you're not playing it. No, we're playing it all together, right? I'll play my hand, and it's the same hand against all of you. And whoever is the highest card total of the group is the one who steers the narrative. Whatever you decided to do for your play, it's happening, but it's really in support of the hero of the moment, the one who wins that stakes, and it's sort of their actions that lead the narrative. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yarp.
Okay, so we'll just start over here. We'll go around the table like this. Give it a moment to think of what you want to do. Then when you've had a moment, we'll start here, and you can tell me how you want to resolve the attack and get the refugees out of the cavern.
Okay, so is it just one of the Child of the Dark ships, or how many do we see?
Just the one.
Just
you don't
the
know
one.
if there's more, but you only see one.
Is it in the passage or outside?
It's still outside and it's blowing away the ice. It's too big to come in the little passage, and they're probably doing shock and awe, and then they're going to come in and murder everybody.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the huge blast of wind to blow them backwards and off course. I don't think I can kill their ship with the wind, but I can at least buy us enough time to get out the door.
You would like to blast them away so that, because all the other ships have been boarded, they've been, during your discussion, they were boarding all the refugees. So the ships are ready to go.
Yes.
Right? You need to clear the opening so that they can get out.
Yes, that's what I'm wanting to do, because they
It's
can't
just like on
follow
Hoth. You need to blast through the shield so that the shuttles can get out.
Exactly.
Okay, so you are standing on the shore. You look, go, go, and you reach your hands up, and this shock wave of wind just goes howling down the tunnel, pushing against the ship, knocking it out into the dark, potentially knocking it out into the dark. Hold that freeze frame. What are you doing?
How many of the pirate ships are left to use?
There were 6 more vessels here.
Okay.
So they've all been loaded, and some of them weren't very good shape, some of them were kind of small. Everything's been loaded with what they could carry and all the people, and they're maneuvering in the lagoon getting ready to go out when this attack began.
Okay, I want to use Air of Destiny again to calm them, organize them, give them an air of everything's going to be okay.
So you have led the evacuation simply by your grand presence.
Yes.
Effectively enough that it just went so smoothly they got out.
Yeah. The children are panicked, but they're holding their parents' hands. They're not crying. The people are actually pretty organized, considering all hell is breaking
loose. So you got a
around
panicking mass of people to cooperate, which is magical enough.
And probably did it by seeming to be in several places at once. Weird.
Probably was in several places at once. And what you will accomplish then is the complications that are affecting the children will allow them to sneak by.
Yeah, the usual logistics of trying
because
to offload
their crews are working
this.
so well, the people are working so well.
Yeah. The usual logistics of offloading this much stuff and this many people in a crisis is mostly
it went twice as fast because you were helping.
Okay.
How about you?
The stakes that I would be playing for is that everyone gets away safely. I'll be using my wind-powered ability to basically, along the same lines of what Mark's doing, except more using the wind to power the ships.
So you're making the ship so fast that the children can't stop.
The children can't stop, right.
So you're like, 1, 2, 3.
Or all at once so that they can't,
Right. So you're just shooting them, you're giving them the fine control that they can achieve with sails only and powering them out there.
Right.
Awesome. Maybe even shooting them out a couple of the holes the hole that you guys made.
Actually, as our ship goes by theirs, using fast as lightning to they leap aboard their ship with like a handful of explosives and drop them in place. There's some ammunition pile. Drop one there.
Okay.
And this drop one drops it and then leap back to our ship.
Okay, so you're doing a fireworks display.
Well, more like a fireworks, a disabling.
Well, yeah,
firework.
absolutely.
dropping it in a
it's
powder
gonna light up.
magazine.
You're lighting up the night.
Yeah, or the powder magazine would be.
So
even
you will blow them to pieces, or at least damage them. A man of war is probably not going to be destroyed by a few bombs, but it could be disabled long enough for the ships to get
Exactly.
past. Okay, and slow them down so they couldn't.
Yep.
Are you going to be the last ship out?
Of course.
I will be assisting with the evacuation specifically by using hands to take care of anybody who has already suffered any injuries doing this before we load them up on whatever vessels they're escaping on.
Okay, so you're doing medical care.
Yes.
Okay. So the old and infirm are suddenly spry. You touch them with your healing hands, and they can help carry and manage children and be parts of the crew.
No. Whoa!
Old
I am
sailors.
totally not tired anymore.
Yeah, there are fatigued captains who had just gotten back from the run you're on. You've brought them back to
Give them some extreme
spirit.
XP.
Okay, so you basically just through efficiency and improved energy and hands to do work, do the same thing. he's
Basically,
doing,
the support side. So
Close to what Tom was doing, I was planning on throwing a bunch of heavy things before with unstoppable force.
Throw that mast.
I am going to throw the mast into wherever their engine should be to
Push the
cripple
button.
them.
Okay. I'm imagining that there's lots of things laying here on the docks that they're not taking with them.
So-
And it's just
anchors.
Yeah, anchors.
Grab a pair of anchors, spin around.
Harpoons.
Basically, it's just
out of
spin,
ship masts.
grab something, throw, spin, grab something, throw. Just a hail.
So there's a hail of heavy metal flying down the tunnel, clearing a path for the other ships to get out.
Pretty much.
that mess is just your bag of hot dogs, isn't it?
There are no hot dogs. But there could be a sack of sausages.
How do you know this?
I'm
What is that?
completely
I don't
out of
understand.
wind. But as
Why
an
don't we
explorer
talk like
knight,
a Russian?
to defend the dock, I so vow. I've still
When
got
in
my
the
relic.
Russia.
Okay.
No, this is
So,
Russian.
I am going to take a spot on our bow. And I know exactly how much the force of will of a good commander can make.
So you're using like a bullet to the head?
I am using like a bullet to the head,
Okay.
and I am taking out anybody
Baryshnikov does not
Looks like an
on that
officer?
shoulder. Yes.
All right.
Starting with the guys with the big filigree.
Bang!
Oh, he's got
Bang!
he's got eggs on his shoulder,
His voice is actually really high.
and I'm just going to work my way through the chain of command.
Awesome. Man.
So this is all happening. You're doing all the things you said you're doing, and like I said, they're all contributing to the success or failure, right?
And I think that we all have the same aim in mind, which is no casualties on our side.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we have to negotiate. I know what we're doing, but we have to negotiate what the stakes are. Do you want it to be a stake? You can all have the same stakes if you want it. If you win, right? You tell me what you're doing, but the actual stakes are. Do you want them to be individual, or do you want them to be one collective stakes that we're
Everybody gets
I
away
think-
safely.
I think that's
ships get
yeah.
out safely, and you guys make it as well?
Yes.
Right. And,
We're out
and not just out,
We
but
would be
away
part of
from
every-
the
Away.
and back into the kingdoms and the like.
So we're
Yes.
helping cripple them so they can't chase us. Other people are helping everybody else move faster.
So
Yeah.
you could, if you wanted, to have individual stakes. Mechanically, you could have your own individual stakes so that the narrative goes in a certain direction that you want it to go.
But I think-
in
I
a
think
multi-party
it's sounding
play.
we're all wanting
But in
it to
this,
go
it
the
sounds
same
like
way.
it's the same one.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes it simpler. If you fail, it's not going to go well.
Everybody
If you
dies.
fail, there are collisions as the ships clog up the exit. Cannon fire from the Children of the Dark vessel disables some of those ships, and now they're clogging though. They can't even move anymore. They're just stuck in the entrance. So everyone's trapped in here. The children soften everything up with their cannons, swarm in, and it is a slaughter. You guys escape, but you will remember for the rest of your cycles that you were unable to save 1,500 refugees,
Nice.
and that you broke your promise to the dread pirate Margit that you would save her people. So if you fail, that's what you'll have to live with.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
None.
All right.
Unless it's wind pressure.
I
I
have
wondered why my ears felt funny.
one plot cache left, so I'm going to play that.
Do we have any? No, we're out, aren't we?
No, we can't use the boarding ones for
Nope.
this.
Yeah.
You can
Trying to
use
avoid
your own
boarding it.
caches if they apply. Does anybody have a cache that you want to apply to your
Double
play?
recklessness.
Yeah.
Recklessness works.
Knight's cash, because we've all...
You can use Knight's
Yes.
cache for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
If you haven't spent your Knight's cache, you can
Dude,
use it because
yes.
it applies.
Oh yeah,
Let's do
spending
this.
that.
Night.
Okay.
Definitely.
Babushki.
So that gives us
Alright.
an extra card.
Yep.
An extra wild card.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have my play ready, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So add up your cards. I have 20.
I've got 37, and I'm crowning because it's combat.
19.
Okay, I have a question. 'cause
Anybody
I-
beat a 33?
Yes.
40.
I do.
And 19.
Sorry, 30.
16.
33.
I only did
41.
40? 41?
Okay, 40. Now, can I, since I've got a king, a queen, and a jack?
Yeah, you can crown something there. King for sure. This is Marshall, so you can crown the king.
Okay.
43.
So
43.
44.
44.
I pulled 2 kings, so how does that work?
You
Just one.
can only
Just
crown
crown
one of
one?
them, but they're both kings, so it doesn't matter. You can
Okay.
crown because it's Marshall.
Okay.
So you'll have 32 total.
Does it matter whether we
These-
crown or cash first?
No, but you do them both before you display your cards. You've just made that
Yeah.
decision. You play them all at the same time.
Okay.
So
So that's my cash
So you've got 34.
and the crown for the
38.
king.
and I had the jack, and I pulled a queen. So
So what's your total?
let's see. So 19, 24 with the queen. 33.
So it sounds like 44 is still our hard,
33.
a hard number, right? All right. So you were describe how this final scene plays out. Everybody is doing their part, but the camera is focused on you as the ships make the final escape.
Okay. The refugees are loaded. They're cared for by those who are doing the medical. Leading the charge is this giant mass that just comes flying out, slams into the Children of the Dark ship, sending them into a disarray and a frenzy of assaults. Mark, what's your character name?
Zag.
Zag
Just
blows this
them all.
wall of wind that halts the cannonballs in midair as I rev up the ships, pulling in all the wind I can. We shoot out like the ships themselves are going out of a cannon, and then as we're making our escape past the disoriented Children of the Dark ship, as a final giant fuck you, Tom flashes into the powder magazine, dropping
Tonio.
several... Tonio flashes into the powder magazine, dropping several bombs, ensuring our escape as the children are crippled and burning in the air.
So they're shouting orders, beginning to maneuver in pursuit, and then boom, boom, several explosions on and below decks send them reeling down towards the dark. As you guys punch it, give full power,
All right, boys.
and join the rest
Down
of the refugee
we
fleet.
go.
The ragtag fugitive fleet as it heads back up towards the
light.
The
The
light.
light.
And welcome to the end of Bait and Switch.
awesome.
Very nice.
I think that earned us a blaze.
A very clean success.
That went well.
Well done. Very well done.
Do they take into account the fact she was just trying to feed refugees?
If I was writing the end of the story, I would say that was certainly a mitigating factor. Turns out she was just a bookkeeper who realized what was going on and saw her village destroyed, and you can imagine the rest from there. She was particularly charismatic and very capable logician, and through the sort of force of will of her friend Finesse, that's the woman's name actually, the Dread Pirate Margit was able to keep everyone guessing, even among her own people sometimes.
Not to mention, if the Children of the Dark are rising again, we could use someone like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, she would be.
We could use someone like both of
If
them.
they've been surviving this long in the Twilight Frontier,
That's intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
she is a valuable resource that the Brotherhood will probably not
Stack
let
them all.
sit idle in prison.
Awesome. So
You
is
know
this
what?
going to
You've
be?
got a lovely sentence, and basically we're going to let you work it off with community service.
Yeah.
Get on that boat and serve the community.
You're a captain.
Oh,
Is
darn.
this meant to go ahead and set as the introductory adventure for?
It was specifically designed for you guys, actually.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Nice.
All right.
What I wanted,
We are special.
Ross and I have been talking about using this as a promotional when we do the Kickstarter, and I wanted an adventure that showed sort of all the different aspects of sort of life in the setting, I needed to make sure that the knights got to be noble, but I also wanted some social interaction. I wanted at least one of the kingdoms to be featured. I wanted the knights. I wanted the Children of the Dark to have at least a little bit of a cryptic appearance.
Which I do like that not much information given. But
I wanted you to get down into at least the Twilight Frontier to get a little bit of a feeling for what that was, as opposed to the kingdoms.
Cool.
And who can resist Sky Pirates? I mean,
no.
Pirates. I mean,
No, this was amazing, and I really do love something that they didn't really in the first one. That aside, that kind of gave us our characters more backstory as we were going through, and gave us a chance to build on our own legends versus. So no, this is wonderful. Thank you.
I really appreciate your participation.
Hey, you bet.
And I don't know what kind of time frame you guys are on, but I would love a chance to debrief the adventure and the game mechanics themselves.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you said 10 o'clock, and go to a local bar and buy a round or whatever if you want
we'll do that in
talk
just
game.
a little bit. But first, folks, thank you very much for listening, and
This
we'll
is
see you
RPPR.
guys.
We will see you guys next time.
All right, bye.